All right, we're back for a very late edition to the Fake Nerd Podcast Quarantine Cast Extravaganza. This could be considered our pilot episode of a Fake Nerds After Dark.
Oh my!
I feel like we've done later.
Probably. We recorded it in the morning before.
Oh yeah,
we most certainly have done later, boys.
Yeah. And I only have one thing to say to you guys. Passion was passion and love was love, regardless of who the participants involved were or what sort of body they were assigned at birth. Ready Player 2.
I knew that. I got it.
Ben.
Was that from Ready Player 2?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So, right before he started, because before we started recording and doing this, we talked a little bit, because I haven't bought Ready Player 2 yet. I don't know if I'm going to get Ready Player 2 soon.
Roll on through the story, Ben. Let's go.
But, yeah, I thought it was like right before he bounced out, I was like, maybe I could go grab Ready Player 1 for a bit, but no, it's downstairs now, and I'm upstairs. So
Boy, how do you make a worse book is what I'm curious about, because from all the excerpts I've seen, holy shit, Ernest Cline, are you kidding me?
Did you see the one? You saw the one where it was like, I decided to search X-Men.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. The bondage. Yeah. Yeah. Also,
that one 3-paragraph section that kept getting retweeted in that part of the thread. That's just like names like 8 properties in one paragraph. I'm like, I can't.
I watched a 30-minute review literally before we started talking about the entire book. And guys, Sword Art Online is such a big deal because in Ready Player 2, real quick, Steven Spielberg had direct influence on Ready Player 2 because eventually that movie is going to get made eventually. So some of the stuff that Steven Spielberg put into Ready Player 2 is just Sword Art Online. But because it was so similar to Sword Art Online, Ernest Cline just made the plot Sword Art Online, and now the actual game Sword Art Online is in the plot of Ready Player 2. And it's like, that's not from the 1980s, Ernest. How does this doesn't make sense, Ernest?
And I gotta tell you guys, Sword Art Online is pretty much as bad as Ready Player 1.
Oh no, I've seen SAO.
It's bad.
I've seen SAO, and I've seen SAO too. I know.
But he's quoting
why
things
did you do SAO too, Ben? Why did you keep going?
You have to know.
What do you mean?
So it's not.
I stopped at SAO 2.
So sorry, Ben, real quickly. The plot of this game, this book, it's not 1980s nostalgia anymore. Now this dude is like a pop culture god who knows all of pop culture, not just the 1980s pop culture.
But it is still really 1980s inspired, but because Wade is now the protagonist, it's now like the second level of nerd stuff. So there's still a lot of 80s stuff, but like, man, like the plot is Sword Art Online. People can't get out of the Oasis because they're trapped in the reality. And I'm just like, wow.
All right, so
it's 3 minutes too long.
No, I woke up and then I looked on my Twitter feed and then I saw, oh, hey, people are tweeting about Ready Player 2. Did that book come out? And I saw it came out that day. I'm like, oh, that's neat. And then I scrolled 2 screens down and I'm like, oh, no.
For those of you listening, watching, whatever, tuning into the idea that I just read a passage from Ready Player 2, it is attached to a longer passage of Wade talking about how great it is that he just met someone who was assigned male at birth and it didn't send him into a sexual frenzy.
Listen, there's some very him trying to be woke, but only the way that a super white dude who doesn't know how to be woke can be woke. Yeah. And that's his way of doing it. So I'm not gonna fully fault him. It's just still really gross and messy. But at least he's trying.
You could have asked someone.
Oh no, that would require like research instead of just looking at your disc library.
That is 4.5 minutes too long of talking about Ready Player 2.
Can we talk about good things?
Yeah, may I go first? I have some
Please.
things I want to get out of the way.
Get it. I'm gone. Bye. If you're listening, I just stumbled.
Oh boy.
What are you talking about? Everything's fine.
Wow, that was good.
Ryan, how much cough syrup have you drank?
No, none. That was comic books that knocked us over, not my stupidity.
Okay.
Anyway, real quickly, lost my whole train of thought. Right, we have some links in the description below. We have Ben's newest article in the description below, and we have Ryan and his Downright Annoyed group talking about planes, trains, and automobiles in the description
I'm
below.
so happy about that.
It's so good. Oh my god.
Since we bring up Downright Annoyed, I was just thinking about how nice it was a year ago when right around this time we were getting the Downright Nerdy crew with us to talk Star Wars. That was fun.
That was fun.
I fell in the bathroom.
Shout out to
no.
the lovely people. Yeah, that was that period of time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We miss you, Downright Nerdy.
Man, coming home to watch Star Wars movies in preparation for that episode was great.
Mm-hmm.
Just meeting was great.
My father being here for Thanksgiving last year while I'm like plowing through Star Wars movies on the couch, he's like, I guess this is okay. We're going through the prequels and he's like, kind of over this.
What's happening?
No, Fanny and I watching the prequels and me Instagramming all the memes from them and do like when Palpatine jumps from his chair to attack Mace Windu and the other Jedi to fucking shooting stars.
Yeah, that's a power now.
Oh,
That is, yeah.
Hit the Sith screech.
No, and even and finally me and Michael and Riley face to face for the first time was just awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
We miss you.
That we couldn't do that again this year.
Damn COVID.
And then real quickly, I need to make an amendment to my absolutely bullshit review last week of New Mutants.
Oh?
You know, I said it on the show. Hey, who really cares? Who honestly cares about any of our reviews? They mean nothing. However, it turns out I woke up in the middle of the night screaming because I gave the movie a 7.5.
Why?
That's not true. I didn't do any of this.
Okay.
But upon rewatch, 7.5 was not actually what I wanted to say.
Okay.
I wanted to say 6.5.
Okay.
So there you go. I had 6.5 New Mutants. Join us next week for the Victor podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I changed my review. I give it an 8.
Well, fuck, 9. I don't care. You want to play this game?
I don't.
I lived for a week and the world has gone topsy-turvy.
It's crazy. Magic will do that to you.
Now.
Oh yeah.
FNP tech difficulties card. Yeah. I made one like that. I should put that up.
That's a bingo.
Okay. Now I'll talk about some of the stuff I did this week. It's Thanksgiving. There wasn't a whole lot that I was able to do. I watched most of the stuff with my girlfriend, and my mom only watches Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and
Chicago shows.
Yeah.
There's Brandon. I'm also shocked how many of those shows there are. There's also straight up a show just called like Chicago Fire, Police, and Medical, and it's just all of them. And I'm just
It's
like,
a crossover.
Oh, it's a crossover. Okay, I'm like,
It's
wow.
the Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh wow, epic.
Yeah.
Wow.
She loves all those shows. By the way, real quickly, Chicago PD is incredibly insensitive this year.
Oh no.
Because they are dealing with the BLM movement and how tough it is to be a cop since BLM happened.
Oh, true facts. Oh, true.
Oh,
yeah.
So that was fun.
All those dangerous water bottles.
Anyway, but I did manage to do some stuff. I finished Grace and Frankie. I finished all 6 seasons of that show. I made a joke earlier this week about how if you watch The West Wing season 1 to Grace and Frankie season 6, you can see in real time Martin Sheen's hair get gray.
Mm.
And that is so true because it's really wild. Yeah, he's really fun. So he plays a gay guy who's married to Sam Waterston, who I don't know if you guys saw the newsroom. He was the not the head of the network. That was Jane Fonda, but the boss of that one station.
Did he report the news?
No, he ordered the people to report the news.
Damn it! All right, I know who Sam Waterston is. Though. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. He and Martin Sheen are both gay in the show, and they're married, and they're just kind of exploring their love and their life. And Jane Fonda really surprises me in the show. Shit, got it. Okay, sorry, that was all vamping because I totally forgot what I wanted to say. John Gallagher is in the show in the last couple seasons. He's amazing.
Okay.
He is so damn funny in that show. Real quickly, John Gallagher, OC, right?
Yes,
Is that the right name?
Peter Gallagher.
Peter Gallagher.
I think I know. Peter Gallagher.
Sandy Cohen from the OC.
Now I know Peter. I know Peter Gallagher. That handsome dude. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you're saying John Gallagher, but I don't know it.
Yeah, Peter Gallagher.
Yeah, Peter
Rewind.
Gallagher. Peter Gallagher's fantastic. The father of the bride in Kristen Milotti and Andy Samberg's time loop movie we watched earlier this year.
Palm Springs. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, Peter Gallagher. He marries Jane Fonda.
Cool.
In the show, and there's a bit where Jane Fonda's like, "I want to meet your son. I want to meet your son, your adult son who works with you." And like, okay, so his assistant, who was his ex-wife, ends up being there with Jane Fonda. They don't know that was the ex-wife. And then the son shows up, and he says, "Oh, hi, Mom. I didn't know you'd be here." Jane Fonda says, "You don't need to call me Mom." And then the girl, it's a Doc Brown's girlfriend from Back to the Future 3.
I forgot her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that girl.
Okay.
I knew it. I
She was in
freaking knew it.
She was also in Joan of Arcadia.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it last night. I'm sorry, I forgot the name now. But she's the mom.
Okay.
She's the mom of this kid, adult son. And Peter Gallagher walks in, and he just goes, "Hey." He turns around and walks away.
I'm into it.
It was just so funny.
I am now 100% sold. Like, all you have to tell me is Peter Gallagher is fantastic in something, and I'm like, well, now I will watch it at some point.
Yeah, he's later in the series.
Sure.
He plays a rich guy, and one of the lines that he's playing. So he's super rich, and he goes up to Frankie's boyfriend, who is oh my God, Winston from Ghostbusters.
Ernie Hudson.
Hudson. Thank you. Ernie Hudson is in it, and so he's a farmer, and he's a lower class farmer, and so they meet each other, and Peter Gallagher just goes, "You know what's funny? We pay the same number in taxes." And that's just how the scene ends.
That sounds like my type of comedy. Okay.
Yeah. So he's a lot of fun.
Good job, Grace and Frankie.
I watched a couple of movies. I watched a movie that I wanted to see for many, many years. Back when MoviePass was still a thing. I got MoviePass because I wanted to see this movie in theaters. I couldn't find the time. So I finally watched it. It's on Hulu. I watched Professor Marston and the Wonder Women. This is the biopic of the creator of Wonder Woman, William Moulton Marsden.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised at how not about Wonder Woman it was. It's not about him creating Wonder Woman. It's actually about his personal life.
Dude has a crazy personal life.
Insane.
Yeah.
Watching this movie, I knew none of this. For those of you who don't know, he had an open marriage with a young college student. His wife, and she were all just in love and were into bondage later on. And that's how they created Wonder Woman. And according to the movie, obviously this could not be real life, but according to the movie, he created Wonder Woman the way Wonder Woman was, with the superpowers and the bondage and the lesbianism and things like that. Like, because he wanted to empower women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was his way of like letting women to be free and be their true selves.
That's true. He was a massive feminist.
And then, like, not DC, but like the government was like, no. And he had to like leave the character because it was no longer the character. Really, really good. I watched it and I made a community joke. I don't know if you guys remember. Real quickly, which historian says, yeah, they did a really good job with that movie. Yes. Luke Evans, he's great. I made a joke from Community. There's a scene in Community where the dean is watching Dalmatian dancing, like men dressed as.
You hope that this doesn't awaken something in you.
So, like, I made the joke. I was watching this, like, I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
And did it?
We'll talk after the show.
No, it's Fake Nerds After Dark, baby. You talk now.
Dude, it's past midnight.
I bought all the handcuffs. God.
Fuzzy or not?
Oh,
It was a Black Friday sale. Everything was all.
I had to.
2-for-1 cuffs. What are you gonna do?
I bought Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond the Animated Series on Blu-ray, and a ton of handcuffs. like a normal person.
Hey, sounds normal.
Did
to
you get
me.
the ones with the pre-release with the release latch, or the ones without the release latch?
I'm done with this bit.
Ben, you always get the non-release because it's so much more fun to find the key. Come on. Where's your sense of adventure?
Put the key in my butt, God.
But no, you close your eyes and you throw the key and you don't even think about it.
Baby's first bondage over here.
Oh my God.
I will say, really, I was missing the first two volumes of Sunstone for like a year for some reason. I may have rebought those to give the books a reread. Just gonna throw that out
think I
there.
know the reason.
Shut up. So I also watched two Christmas movies this week. Christmas Chronicles Part 2 came out. Boy, you guys, that Kurt Russell as Santa is a joy.
Yeah.
I stand my saxophone jazz singing Santa.
I'm into it. And he's got Goldie Hawn in there too, right?
Goldie Hawn plays Mrs. Claus in this one. She's great. Like all good sequels, it builds the lore. The kid from Deadpool and The Hunt for the Wilder People, he's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know exactly who he is from the moment the movie starts because that movie is very predictable.
Yeah.
Then they throw in time travel at the last minute. Be like, hey, surprise, time travel. And that's some good stuff. I really. What? Okay, which historian says all handcuffs have the same key, so it's not a huge deal if you lose the key. Police have a backup. Oh boy!
I did not know that. I just learned something. I just learned something today. Thank you, Witch Historian. Wow.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about it.
That seems like a loophole in the system if I've ever heard one.
You're being risky, but really you're risk free. So no release away, my friend.
Do you guys remember Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yes.
Sweetheart, it doesn't fit. What? Call a locksmith.
A locksmith.
That's a good movie. Anyway, Jesus. So the Christmas Chronicles Part 2. This is a lot of fun. It's Kurt Russell just having a blast as Santa Claus as he did in the first one. I think both of those are honestly new Christmas classics. If you like the Santa Claus and the Santa Claus Part 2, think the same thing. That's what you got here, guys. Hopefully, Christmas Chronicles Part 3 is not the same thing as the Santa Claus Part 3.
The escape clause?
The escape clause.
I hear Martin Short is already set up to return as Jack Frost.
Oh yeah, it's actually a crossover.
As long as he doesn't return as Loki,
it's the Santaverse.
Can we not?
Ryan got my reference.
Listen, there's only one Santaverse that I'm interested in, and it's our book club. Okay.
Yeah, I have to read that one.
Yeah, so I think it's a great time. Highly recommend those two movies, especially if you're a Kurt Russell fan and if you like Christmas movies, fun Christmas movies.
I have heard people say better things about the second one than the first one. Not that the people didn't like it, but like my Twitter sphere, people are like, "Yo, this is like a lot of fun. It's just like a good Christmas, good time."
Yeah, I mean, like I make the allusion to the Santa Claus and the Santa Claus 2 because you know what? They're good fun. They're good fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably make the time to watch them this year. When school's over.
And then I watched Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Grace's new film on Hulu, Happiest Season.
What a week this movie's had.
Yeah,
it's so interesting.
I'd heard about this way earlier because I started following I forget her last name right now, but Mary who's in it and because she's the droid in Jedi Training Academy. So I started following her on Instagram because I realized I saw her in a bunch of stuff. And then I started seeing through her Instagram promotional material about Happiest Season, like who was in it and what it was about. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be great when that comes out. And so I still haven't had the time to watch it, but I'm excited for it.
I really like it. I am definitely Team Riley. Screw Hannah.
Oh, sounds like Twilight.
All the performers are great, and obviously Kristen Stewart is great. Aubrey Plaza plays Mackenzie Grace's ex from high school. And the more you learn about Mackenzie Grace, the more you kind of start to hate her. But it's a really good lesbian rom-com that you just don't see often. It is the same thing as a normal rom-com, just hey, two women.
Wait,
and during Christmas.
And during Christmas.
Who does K-Stu play?
She plays the girlfriend. She plays the girlfriend of Mackenzie
What's
Grace.
her name? What's her character's name?
Name is Abby.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Mackenzie Grace is Hannah. And
Why did that matter?
Because he said he was team.
Aubrey Plaza plays a character named Riley.
Oh, Kristen Stewart's the center character, and there's two other girl. There's her girlfriend, and then another girl. And so people have opinions about the girl who's dating Kristen Stewart.
Okay,
which is just really nice that everybody's really positive about Kristen Stewart in this movie because she's damn it.
I'm sorry, because I thought Kristen Stewart wasn't the main focus of the movie. I thought it was the other girl who was the main focus. My bad.
Yeah, honestly, really good time. I really enjoyed it. I was surprised at how much I loved it.
Excellent.
Okay. And then I beat the campaign and almost beat the rest of the game of Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Ooh, hot dog. Hot dog.
That game is so good.
Yeah, I still haven't played. I didn't play it this week, but people are saying, man, they really like that ending a lot. And I'm like,
yeah,
I thought that first ending was good. How do you beat that? And like, apparently you do. And I'm like, hell yeah, baby.
There's a lot of really good stuff in this game.
I'm excited when I get to it in April.
Right. Yeah, I because of that we might not be able to do a review anytime soon of the game, but I really hope that we can find the time because that is a really tight, really great just representation of Miles Morales.
Please tell me all three of you saw that video of that guy playing Spider-Man Miles Morales where it glitched and he was a heat lamp.
Yes. Oh yeah, Ben. There are hundreds of videos of you turning into mailboxes, cars, cats, a sewage drain, like where the turtles pop out of, like literally everything. It's beautiful.
My favorite one is when the guy is doing a car mission and he's a block of ice and he's laughing really hard, and as they pass a fence he becomes the fence, and then as they pass a coat rack he becomes the rack of shirts, and then as they pass he's the side of the building at the end of the video.
I didn't have that experience on my PS4, so that's a PS5 thing.
Yeah, I didn't have any.
No, apparently
that Spider-Verse suit is so good.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet from Brian Michael Bendis about the heat lamp. He's like, "Oh, didn't you guys know that it's Canada? He turns into a heat lamp."
Yeah, you should have read my issue.
I was with Jeremy when I watched, because I was in Monterey this last week, and when I watched the heat lamp video, and we were like silently like chuckling with each other in the first part, and then the web swing happened, and I literally like dropped my phone, and we both like rolled back like, oh no,
because it just launches.
Yeah,
heat lamp, and then wee.
Google Miles Morales glitches if you guys haven't seen any of these videos. They're fantastic.
Yeah, that's all I did. That's all I got.
I'll go next. I did not do a whole lot. So
the cats found me.
What?
I said, oh God, the cats found me.
The cats are vibing. It's
They're
vibe
like
time.
all here. Hi guys.
Sorry.
Oh no.
Oh no, kitty.
There's another community joke. What is with this cat?
So my week wasn't a whole lot of stuff was done. The stuff I did do was I caught up with some of my books. I now have my Ten of Swords I need to read, so I read a bunch of stuff before Ten of Swords, such as I caught up on Death Metal.
Oh, I read that. I read Ten of Swords.
All right, cool. And I gotta say, so I got the third issue of Mega Man Fully Charged, and while I was reading that, it made me think it's kind of dark compared to the TV show. I haven't watched the TV show fully. The only stuff I've seen of TV show was from that little preview I got to see at Comic-Con last year. And I have to say, is like, from what I remember the TV show, it is very much a kid's show. Mm-hmm. And then I'm reading this book, I'm like, what happened? Like the tone just went dark, just like straight. It wasn't just like, oh, it's like smidgen. It's like, nope.
Ben, is it like post-apocalyptic, or is there a reason that there's a different tone, or is it just this is now the different tone of the book?
I'm going to say it's taking parts of the show. So whatever happened at the end of the show, it's moving forward after that. Because I think what happened, because I tried to do some research, also try to find a place if there was anywhere where I could stream it. Not really, unfortunately.
Ben, you have a computer now. I will find you the place.
That's right. And so, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I actually kind of like it. I just wish I knew some of the more intricacies, like why does Mega Man hate this one character, or Or why the hell is there Proto Man knockoff called Namagem, which is Mega Man spelled backwards?
So is that a case of you not watching the show that you should just?
I think it's more of a case
Yeah.
not watching the show. But the thing is, as I'm reading it, it's like, I want to know what happens more. And and spoiler, because I know you guys don't care about. They introduce Zero, like this Zero from the Mega Man X video games.
That's
So, bastards. There's Zero One.
Zero's cool, man.
Oh.
That's a cool guy.
Yeah.
That's a cool guy.
So for me, I'm like, wait, they introduced Zero? Because for those of you who don't know, the Mega Man and the Mega Man X games, they are in the same timeline. So it's like, holy shit, this is cool. So I'm looking forward. Apparently, it's only like a 4-issue or a 6-issue miniseries, which kind of bums me out. But okay, that's fine.
Like you need more comics to be buying
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, like I need more comics to be about right now. But once Ten of Swords is done, my pull list is gonna go from this to this.
yeah.
Is it? You're gonna drop the X-Men?
No, I'm still keeping the X. Wait, are you talking about all the X-Men or the X?
Yeah, I'm talking about all the X-Men, baby.
How can you
quit?
How can you drop Hellion? How could you drop Hellions now? Or like X Factor? Like how can you drop any of these?
No joke. No joke. Hellions had my 2 favorite issues from this entire crossover.
That's all
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. Yes.
Because some of them.
That next issue of Hellions. Holy shit.
It's gonna be juicy.
Because
Yeah,
some
I
of them
can't
I
wait.
need to hunt down, and I don't want to hunt them down in part. I don't. We'll talk later.
Put him on your list. I'm dying. Oh my god.
Hunting down the most popular comics in mainstream comics right now, it's gonna be real hard.
Just
I'm just kidding, Ben. Don't drop X-Men. Drop other worse books. That's what we're saying.
no, actually, there are some books that are. Well, Young Justice just ended. That was the last DC book I had.
You got a DC miniseries ending soon. You got Death Metal ending soon. Like, don't drop X-Men. They love you.
Although I'm looking forward to Batman Catwoman. I want to read that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that one's going on. But
Meow.
so besides the comic books I read, I watched a little bit more of Animaniacs. No, I only watched one episode. The second episode of it, I'm loving it. I was laughing my ass off, especially when it was on my Instagram. You guys, I know you three saw it, but when Peaky runs out yelling Leroy Jenkins, I lost my shit.
People seem to like that thing.
I'm enjoying it.
I watched a couple episodes, and yeah, it's good.
I mean, I'm not hearing bad
I was
things.
expecting that to go in a different direction.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm hearing good to really good. I'm not hearing bad.
I mean, all the episodes I watched, they got a lot of laughs out of me. I think more. It's been years since I saw the original Animaniacs, and I've said before, Animaniacs is one of those shows that I didn't really gravitate towards. I was more Looney Tunes, Tiny Toons, classic Warner Brother cartoons.
Lunatics, yeah.
We had a conversation about that earlier, and
Guys, there's a Lunatics joke in Animaniacs.
There is.
I was floored.
Hell yeah.
there is. And I saw that, I'm
It's
like,
progress.
what? So besides that, didn't watch a whole lot of, and I caught up on Ruby. I was a few weeks behind on Ruby because of the move, so I caught up on that. And the only other thing like nerdy I did was I just reorganized my video games. Organized my game thing, and I'm waiting for a HDMI switcher to come in the mail so I can get my mini consoles nice and displayed and I can play them.
Nice.
Real quickly.
What?
Sorry, Ben, real quickly. Mag, it's almost midnight. If you want to, you can go to bed. We won't be upset.
Wait, do we only want one watcher
Look
right
out
now?
for your health.
Yeah. We appreciate you always do this. We really do. But, look after you, man.
Hey, maybe he loves us that much. I appreciate you, baby.
Wait, is he still out of the country? Is he still? Because I
Still
remember.
running from the law, yeah.
I don't think he's running from the law.
Mexico, dude.
Yeah, he lives
No
in
extradition.
Yes, he said that he had family in Mexico.
You know what I like about these 5 states? No extradition.
Ugh. Wait, where's that from?
Whoa.
Past 5.
Oh,
okay.
geez.
Oh my God, is that really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But I mean, Thanksgiving was nice. We
Gobble, gobble.
we did the Star Wars tradition of watching a Star Wars movie, which I was a little nervous of because last year we watched The Last Jedi, and then I was talking to Fanny's friend Grace, and I was like, okay, so we watched Last Jedi next year. That means the next one in line is Rise of Skywalker. She's like, oh no, I saw that in theaters. I don't need to watch that. And we're like, thank the Lord. So we watched New Hope instead.
But
I
you
don't
jumped
know
back to episode 1. Wait, what?
All I was gonna say, what do you mean? Last Jedi is the last Star Wars movie?
No, okay.
They didn't make any more Star Wars movies after The Last Jedi. No,
Yeah, we're waiting for Dave Filoni's Episode 9.
Mags has been back since the 7th and a night owl.
So he's been back since the 11th.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, and he's a night owl, just like we are.
What up? What else you got, Ben?
That was it.
All right.
Got my washer and dryer installed, so
Whoop whoop.
Ryan, you want to go next?
Yes, I will. I did not do very much this week. My roommate Sparks, even though we are currently in the same house right now, we are separated because I'm not feeling very well. But he was gone for a week, so I didn't have a lot of motivations. It's not COVID. It's not COVID. We'll find out if it's COVID. It's not COVID. So I didn't do anything with Sparks, unfortunately. But I read a lot of comics, so I'm going to go through some of the comics that I read. Guys, this comic book, it's called X of Swords, Destruction. And I'm not exaggerating. This is the best looking book of the year. The art in this book is it's so exceptional. There's not enough big words I could use to fully express how beautiful this book really is. This is probably going to win all the art awards it can. Pepe Larraz is the greatest working comic artist of our generation. He's insane. I can't even believe it.
Right. If I may interject for a hot second, you're going to enjoy
Ben from the Fake Nerd Podcast. You have the floor.
I also read the first issue of Marnius Calgar.
Oh, thank you. How'd you like it?
I bought it and I'm intrigued. I'm probably gonna give it a few more issues. Once I go back to the store this week, hopefully they still have copies of issue 2 because issue 2 came out already, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's not my pull list. I just picked out. I was like, Brian said, and I'm intrigued. I am color me intrigued. Ryan, if this is going to be my gateway into me being a diehard Warhammer fan, I'm blaming you.
That's what I want for everyone. And I got you guys with X-Men, so I'm not worried about my other things. But this is a very good introduction to Warhammer. So if you're at all interested, this is a gateway. It's not going to give you the hardcore stuff that a novel will give you. But 20 pages of Warhammer is a month is beautiful. It's better. I didn't have it before.
Yeah, you probably answered this question before, but did you ever play the tabletop game?
I couldn't afford it.
Okay.
Wait, hella expensive. That's why I play the PC games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to reading issue 2 because I'm like, what's going to happen? Anyways, sorry, the floor is right.
No, thank you. I'm going to take back the stage. Juggernaut continues to just be a really solid entry into the X-Men line. Kane Marco still trying to just be a good guy. Really fun issue. Fabian Nicieza, he's writing that X-Men Legends book, so good for him. I like that he's back in X-Men. Taskmaster, you guys know how much I love Taskmaster. This is a miniseries. This book is effing funny, you guys. It's about Taskmaster and all these people who are trying to hunt him down. Nick Fury's involved. It's really great. Maria Hill's dead. We don't know why. Really fun. If you like Taskmaster, definitely check it out. Iron Man! Guys, Chris Cantwell can't do wrong right now. So I'm going to talk about Iron Man. That's it. Iron Man's great, but he's also writing Doctor Doom. Chris Cantwell is writing my two favorite Marvel books right now. That's not X-Men. I love X-Men. It's always going to be my favorite, but other books are great. I just got to say that. Sparks, I know you're reading Doctor Doom. You haven't read issue 8, right? That's okay. So I won't spoil this too much, but this book is such a beautiful deep dive into who Doctor Doom is as a person, who he is as a character, and who he wants to become after being the infamous Iron Man and returning back to his status quo roots of being Doctor Doom, right? So because this book's almost over, I'm just gonna give a quick summary of what it's about. The book. There is a lab on the moon, and they're trying to do experimental energy stuff, for unlimited energy. The comic thing that everyone does. It goes wrong, and a black hole erupts. And Latveria is blamed, and Doctor Doom is blamed. So this entire book is about Doctor Doom trying to clear his name, trying to become a better person, trying to make the world not hate him as much as they have the last 60 years, which is really hard because he's an evil, tyrannical maniac. But this issue specifically just goes so into his psyche of I want to be a good person, but I'm evil. How do I fix this? And it's not something comics get to do very often. And I think Chris Cantwell, this in Iron Man, he's writing such complex characters that honestly, for the last 10 years, have been pretty, besides Hickman writing Doom, obviously, have been pretty mundane. I love Iron Man, but he has been Robert Downey Jr. the last 10 years in the comic books. And this is the first comic that I've read where he doesn't feel like Robert Downey Jr. So if you guys want to read a really great Iron Man, this is the time, baby. This is it. I Walk with Monsters. You were going to say something, Sparks?
No, I was just gonna say Marvel's been killing it pretty much across the board. So
Oh yes,
Kent will certainly a part of that equation.
yeah, dude. I'm loving it. I Walk with Monsters is the new #1 from Vault. Vault's my favorite publisher right now. This book's very heavy and very sad, but it's about a girl who goes around finding serial killers to kill with a man who is also a serial killer monster. And that's all I'm going to tell you. But it's got a heavy, deep premise, and it's a really, really, really solid first issue. And Vault continues to put out these exceptional genre pieces that no other publisher's putting out. The last 3 books I'm going to talk about are DC comics, you guys. Can you believe it? I'm going to talk positively about the DC for 3 comic books. Guys, Wonder Woman, Mariko Tamaki. She's been doing a pretty okay run. I'm going to be honest, it's been pretty okay. I think she's starting to pick it up, starting to get more of a flow of what she wants to be as a superhero writer. I think she has a great voice for Diana, and she's actually a really good comedic writer, and she's slowly getting funnier and funnier with each book. So I'm kind of glad that she's getting her, what's the word? Getting her bearings or whatever. Yeah. Red Hood, number 51. This is the first Red Hood comic I bought in 10 years. This has a Black creative team. This entire issue is about diversity in Gotham. Every single one of you needs to buy this book to show that you care about diversity in comics, because there are so many brown people in Gotham and every other bad book's full of white people. I'm just like, this is awesome. I have never read a comic like this. The art is amazing. It makes fun of the event that it just went through. It's fantastic. Red Hood. I want to read a good Jason Todd book. He's not in it very much. The setup of this distinct part of Gotham where Jason is now going to operate in, it introduces us to these other villains and other vigilante heroes and all these other people in the city. And it feels very much like a Power Man and Iron Fist, like Heroes for Hire book, where it's like him doing ground level stuff for the city. And I really like it. And I'm glad I gave it a shot. The last book, guys, and if you guys didn't pick this up, you got issues. You got problems. It's The Other History of the DC Universe. Holy shit, guys. This is a very dense book. There is so many words in this book. It is basically all prose. It's about growing up in the 70s as a Black person with superheroes being real, and how Superman might actually be kind of arrogant because the way he was raised, and all the stuff of not white supremacy, white privilege, and how even superheroes that are Black get risen up to the status of white people. And and again, it's something like Superman Smashes the Klan, when like one of those really, really important books. It's so good, you guys, and there's so much. It's so dense. I feel like an hour reading this book because I wanted to go over every single detail. It's so beautiful. I'm so glad this book got to come out. Like, please buy The Other History of the DC Universe, guys. Please purchase this book. It is so beautiful. I love it.
Wow.
So that was I did stop off at my old local comic store in Monterey, and just to pick up the things that weren't on my pull list that I knew were coming out, and that was one of them. And I'm like, I'm not missing that. So that's one I definitely picked up, but I didn't get Red Hood 51.
That's okay.
I'm going to add that to my list.
Because listen, if that book, Scott Lobdell was on that book for since it's for 10 years, since the New 52.
Ever since the New 52 started, he was the one creator who stayed on his books for the whole run.
There were some people who came back and forth, but he was the sole guy for basically 10 years.
Jordan did like 10 issues or something like that.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. Yes, and those people seem to like those again out of all 10 years. But you have to show the publishers that you care about representation, and you cannot wait for the comic book characters you want to be written by Black people. You have to support Black people writing comics now. And you know what? Even if I don't like Red Hood in the next couple issues, I will at least give it a chance. Because if you do not give chances to people of color and women that are writers, it will only be white dudes writing the comics the rest of our lives, and I can't do it anymore. I'm at a point where this Red Hood comic was so different than any other Batman comic I read last year, just because it's a Black voice. And that's just so important in superhero comics, guys. And that's me on my pedestal or stand or whatever. That's comic books. I love them. Soapbox.
Stan Lee would say.
Excelsior. That's me. All I do is read comics. I've been kind of sick.
Sparkles?
Yeah, okay. So I was away. Being COVID safe, I know I mentioned like I hang out with Jeremy. I feel like I must responsibly say Jeremy lives in my parents' home. Yeah. So I am hanging out with the people who live within my parents' home, which is actually a number of people. So it's my friend Lauren, Jeremy, and his fiance Pepper, and my parents. So I have a little social bubble when I go there, but that is that house's social bubble.
So Fanny's friend Grace came over, all of us, including her, got tested just to be safe, and we all tested negative.
Who cares? We're locked down for the next 3 weeks. Who cares?
Yeah, solid though. Like it's because that's what all of us do when we meet up for stuff like that. So that's where I was doing Thanksgiving with my family because my parents are old, and just like Brandon, I want to see them. You know, like he wants to see his dad. I want to see my parents.
Thank you for clarifying.
I can. You're welcome. I did get to do a smidgen of things while I was there, but honestly, not much. I watched more Impractical Jokers with my father, which he really enjoyed. So that happened. There was a lot of board games, a lot of them. Most of them, things you're familiar with, like Catan, Five Crowns, Mysterium, which I've talked about. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that, but I will say I played for the first time the Disney Villainous game. And that's really, really cool. And there is a Marvel one out now. And I'm sure they'll make expansions for that too. That game is really... we haven't, as a group, played Sentinels of the Multiverse. It's a very similar kind of setup, except you all have personal goals instead of one group goal. And so everybody has their own... is basically playing their own unique game while other people are playing unique games. And you aren't really doing much with each other except trying to be the person who wins their villain path first. Mm-hmm. And the way that works out and the way you can kind of screw up other people or inadvertently help other people is very interesting. We played Hades and Cruella and Yzma and Scar and Ratigan. So we had a really wide group of villains, and all with very different objectives. And they felt different and they felt unique. So that game's very impressive. I really want to check out the Marvel one now. That was just my first time I got to check it out.
Now, every time I see the expansions or the base set at Target, I just look and go, I want that. But my bank account's like, no, you don't. Not
definitely,
now.
Definitely in like the post-COVID time, first off, I want us to play Sentinels of the Multiverse, but I also want us to play a round of that or Marvel Villainous for sure.
Also, post-COVID time, I'm going to play Boss Monster with all three of y'all because that game is freaking awesome. And I love that game.
Nice. That's dope, man.
I just want to see you guys.
So do I.
Oh, I didn't play it, but for my birthday, because my birthday happened while I was gone.
You leveled up.
Freak me in the A. Happy birthday.
Right. I turned 30 while I was there, and Megan got me a little card game called Cinephile that you have like several different rule sets for the same pack of cards for multiple different games you can play, and it's all based around like being a film dork. It's pretty cool.
You're not a film dork.
But you are. So I'm going to play with you and these guys sometime. Hi, Astra. I see you back there. There you are. I watched some. I've already watched some, and I didn't realize it because I just watched it passively before. But I watched a big chunk of Auntie Donna stuff on YouTube. Because we were all hanging out, and we decided to just browse through that because Jeremy and Pepper have been watching the Netflix show, and so we decided to watch some YouTube exclusives. Thank you, Mag, for the happy Merry Birthmas.
Did you watch the scene where the two guys had the same tie?
No, we did not watch that one. I can't even like.
That's the one I just remember right now. That's
but we went through because we went through outside of Everything's a Drum. We watched only things that were exclusive to YouTube.
Okay.
But that was a good time. And I'm like, oh yeah, now I need to watch that Netflix thing because I wasn't making the connection of who those guys were until I did that.
I was talking to myself. I don't know why I started that way, but I was thinking like how could I describe Auntie Donna to someone who'd never seen it? I was like, well, the first episode starts with them singing Everything's a Drum, and then moves to their washing machine being sentient, which they kick to the curb, and then they have to find a new roommate because their washing machine was paying rent. So they find Cowdoy. That's the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's if you know like Eric Andre, like Tim and Eric, like just like completely just really dumb. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way. Just like they're not afraid to just be totally stupid.
Jeremy likened them to the whitest kids you know.
Yeah,
like the next step up from the whitest kids you know. Yeah. I can see that.
Australian, yeah.
The only movie besides the one we're going to talk about today, that I actually ended up watching there, which I thought I'd watch more movies, but I just didn't. We just spent a lot of time socializing because I guess COVID made us feel that way. The only movie that we watched another Friday the 13th. So we watched Friday the 13th, the final chapter. That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about it, but that was
Jason
fun.
Jason X.
Corey Feldman is an annoying little baby in it. So that's something. I played a little bit more Spider-Man DLC while I was there, but not a ton. But I played a little bit because I had some downtime when I was all by myself, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna play some more Spider-Man. That was fun. I spent way too long in one of Hammerhead's places, really dedicated to getting like the total 20 guys web to a wall, total perfect dodges. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm not leaving till I do it. And that was
combat challenges.
Yeah. I did it. I played a little bit of Fortnite as well because I'm trying to enjoy the nearing the end of the Marvel event, which ends this Tuesday. So I tried to just get in a little bit more time with it and really soak up all the good juices that are going on in there. And that's a lot of fun. Galactus is a very big, prominent head on the horizon, leaning in at this point. The last few things I want to talk about is I took the time because I felt like it, because I've been in kind of a Dragon Ball-esque back of my mind thing. It's not a prominent thing that I'm focusing on, but like Dragon Ball's been kind of running through my head off and on for a while. So I watched a video called The History of Dragon Ball Z by Super Eye Patch Wolf, who makes great analysis videos. But that one...
We couldn't hear you, Ryan.
I love Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Yeah, he makes great stuff. That one is more appropriately called like a history of Dragon Ball Z specifically in America, because that's really what it's talking about. I thought that was just a super great, like, especially for our generation, I think, and the effect Dragon Ball Z had on us. I think it's just a well done video because he's usually a little more critical and he's really upfront. He's like, I have a really hard time being critical about Dragon Ball Z, so this is not going to be a critical video. And it just made me like it. And I realized like everybody from our generation, I think, because like when I was watching Dragon Ball Z, I was hard, like, you know,
me too.
It's Goku.
Oh, right.
Goku is the guy. Goku's the man. You know, like he was my dude. He's my idol. And I realized that like almost everybody I talk to who still likes Dragon Ball Z from that generation is like, yeah, but Vegeta, man.
Yeah, but Vegeta,
he's the best character.
Yeah, but
he's the best character, and he has the best arc. And like Super Eye Patch Wolf kind of ends the whole conversation on that. And I'm like, man, it's really everybody. Like you look at it, they're like, yeah, Goku's great, but Vegeta, man, that dude evolves. So I highly recommend that video.
Now, funny enough, as you're talking about Vegeta, because I've been listening to DBZA quite a bit when I'm at work, and I'm just listening to the Cell Saga, and damn, Vegeta, man.
Yeah, but Ben,
I know it's a different.
Go to the original source.
I know.
Anyway, for if you guys like Dragon Ball analysis, I brought him up on the show. I'm a big fan of Totally Not Mark. He is currently doing One Piece videos, which that's fine. He can do that. But his Dragon Ball videos are really great. I think his character analysis videos specifically were really great.
Yes.
Okay.
Two other things. I bought a game that Ryan didn't mention he played, but I know he did it because then I bought it, and it's Fuser.
Oh yeah.
Fuser came out recently. It's from the team that made Harmonix, who made Rock Band.
Real quickly, Mag says, been there for Trunks' childhood.
Yes.
Yeah. Not just Rock Band, but Guitar Hero and DJ Hero and that Mount Asia or Disney whatever game. All those games.
To me, this feels like the ideas of those things kind of perfected in a sense.
I can't believe how well it works.
It's like very, very smooth.
It is. If you guys haven't seen it, if Fuser is a DJ game where you have a whole track list of like 30 different songs, and you can pick like the beats, the vocals, and the guitar riffs for different songs, and you get to make your own riffs. But it actually works like you're a DJ, so you can plan things and you can change the tempo and you can do like 6 drops. It's so impressive. Like it makes you feel like a badass DJ when you're really not. But
you can make really cool mixes, and you get an ear for it if you play it long enough. It's incredibly intuitive. I got it for the Switch. and I really, really like the layout for that. It feels very just like comfortable, and I understand it. So I played a little bit of that, really enjoyed it. I look forward to playing more. I was happy to pick it up because it was on Black Friday sale.
Do you know there's multiplayer and we can have freestyle battles?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Baby. That's dope. That's dope. It's gonna
be great. Yes, I'm excited. Also, last thing, I bought another game for the Nintendo Switch because Black Friday, and it was one I've been waiting to pick up, and I'm like, you know what? It's half off. It's time, baby. It's Episode 1 Racer.
That's not what I thought it was gonna be.
Nope, I know, but like I was waiting for this.
I thought you were gonna say Hades.
I
thought you know what? I'll be honest with you. I forgot. I forgot to look at Hades on Black Friday.
It's still on sale.
Maybe I will. But Episode 1 Racer was on my wish list, like really high up there, and it was half off, and I'm like, it's time. It's $7. It's time. I really wanted to play that because I played that game a lot when it was on the computer, a lot. And here's the thing. Started playing it on the Switch. And I realized, because I had a memory of like only a handful of races, I want to say maybe 6 or 7. And that's because as a kid, I did not understand the concept of upgrading the pod racer that's built into the game. So at a certain point, the races become undoable. And I got frustrated and I quit playing those races. So I only stuck to repeating the races I could do. And I never advanced through that part of the game. Now as an adult who understands these things, I'm like going to it and I'm like, oh, there's like 20 races I've never played.
Oh,
this is incredible. It's like having the game all brand new. And it looks great for a old 90s game ported onto the Nintendo Switch. But it looks really good, to be honest. And playing on the Joy-Cons feels just as good as I thought it would. Because I used to play that game with a joystick. So playing it now with the Joy-Cons just feels like, man, this is pod racing. I love it.
Were you Anakin's pod? Did you actually do like the thing?
Anakin's pod. Of course I'm Anakin's pod. Yeah.
Oh, do you hold the Wiimotes or the Joy-Cons like that?
No, I wish that was the case. No, you could. There's nothing stopping you.
Yeah,
it seems that if you can hold the controls like that and still keep track of it, more power to you.
I'm just saying they've made games where you do stuff with side controllers. I'm saying they could have worked something out.
I think if maybe they were making the game from the ground up, then sure. But because it's just a port onto multiple systems, not just the Switch.
Wait for the remaster.
Yeah. But I was really happy to play it. Just watching the weird planets that you get to go to, and like the equivalents of Jabba the Hutt, who's the host of the race, and just these different weird aliens. I forgot how cool that is. That game's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I had that on the N64. I would like to revisit that game again. But
I'm pretty sure I had that on the Game Boy.
No, because when Ryan mentioned Hades, and because I know he's talked a lot about Hades the past few weeks. I watched a YouTube video of this YouTuber I like, and he was like going through like the Game Awards because the Game Awards did their nominations recently. Hades is nominated for a lot of awards, and it's looking at screenshots of Hades. I'm like, damn, that looks really freaking cool.
I'll
probably get Hades.
I'll also just real quickly highlight. There's one thing I didn't do that I'm sure everybody else did, which I still haven't seen The Mandalorian.
Listen, Sparks.
Don't tell me anything.
Listen, Sparks. How late are you staying up tonight?
Not late enough because I'm not watching it without Megan.
Okay.
Or if I was going to watch it without Megan, I would have already done it.
All right.
You know what? Oh, man.
Here's the reason. Let me explain to you the reason too. Because my parents watch Mandalorian, but they had only watched the first episode of the second season.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, well, we'll make the time and we'll sit down and we'll all watch. That didn't happen. So because that didn't happen, there really was never a good opportunity while they were around and awake and we were awake for Megan and I to watch the 5th episode, and thus it never happened. So
please don't watch it without me. Don't watch it without me. I want to be there.
We'll get better, sick boy.
I could watch. No, that's what I mean. Tomorrow, yeah. So I want to be there with you when that happens.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it tomorrow. But I am one of the lone nerds who has not gotten to see Ahsoka Tano's appearance.
That's okay. I haven't seen it either. I just wanted to sit with the cool kids.
Oh, have you really not?
No, I've seen it.
Oh, you piece of poop.
Sorry. All right. You good?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, let's move on to our bread and butter.
B&Bs.
Check into the B&B. We've got some sad news.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, this is sad.
This kind of came in under the wire. Was it a stupid bit? All right, Dave Prowse. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. Best known as the body of Darth Vader. Obviously, that's James Earl Jones, the voice. He was Darth Vader in all 3 of the Star Wars films, even after he realized that James Earl Jones would be voicing him. Some more cool things I found out about this guy, though. He was apparently Christopher Reeve's trainer on the first Superman movies before he was an actor. He was Frankenstein's monster in the Hammer film series, 1970s horror Frankenstein, and 1974's Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell, which is actually a role he reprised from playing it on Casino Royale, the parody James Bond movie.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. He passed away this week at the age of 85.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
It's sad because a lot of people, I feel, when they say Darth Vader, they always point to James Earl Jones. Like if they hear, oh, James is coming back as the voice, oh yeah, we're getting Darth Vader. It's like, because the man acted out the scenes.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, James Earl
He
Jones.
gave Vader his physicality.
Yeah, he gave Vader the body language, the imposing force that, like when you see Vader, his silhouette in Cloud City right before they're about to start, and he says, "You are not a Jedi yet." That's like, I mean, I know he's still saying it, but it's like his presence is intimidating as hell.
Stunt actors, they're important. Like, you know, like anyone, like think about like Friday the 13th, like all those slashers, like those stunt actors give those characters performances too, even if they're not like the actual voice or whatever. Yeah, like he played the greatest villain in movie history. Like that's how cool is that? Like
how many
it's awesome.
times have all of us just saw someone that we didn't necessarily like and wanted to do this?
I mean, I don't condone murder of any sort, man. So definitely
No,
not.
I'm talking about New Hope, where he's like, I find you like a faith distilled.
Oh, just a little choke, like a daddy choke.
Just a little, not like full apology accepted, Captain Nita. Not Empire Strikes Back full, as in just enough.
We're learning a lot about your bondage interests this night, Ben.
Plugs and gags.
Plugs and gags. This morning was the morning when I realized that Dave Prowse was in Clockwork Orange. He's the man in the Speedo who picks up Alex when he's been beaten in the home of the man with the wheelchair. And I was like, oh wow, I've really never made that connection, so that's cool.
He was a big man.
He was a big man.
Yeah.
Big man. Big man, big legacy.
Yeah.
Okay. Due to my promise with Sparks, we will talk about Ray Fisher every time his name comes up.
Problems with Sparks.
I promised you.
Oh, promise! I heard problems. I'm like, what did I do?
I also heard problems. And I'm
I
like,
heard
what?
problems. I'm like, what?
Got it.
Promise.
Yes.
Well, as we know, Joss Whedon. I didn't talk about this on the news, but I didn't think it was relevant. Joss Whedon has stepped down from his new HBO show, The Nevers.
I didn't know did we talk about this?
Oh no, I didn't see the reason.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There was nothing. It was just I'm doing a show called The Nevers.
Gotcha.
Now I'm not.
Now he's not. Ray Fisher tweeted after the news, "I have no intention of allowing Joss. Man, Ray Fisher came for the throat. I have no intention of allowing Joss Whedon to use the old Hollywood tactic of exiting, stepping down, or walking away to cover for his terrible behavior. Warner Media's JL investigation has been in full swing for over 3 weeks now. This is undoubtedly a result. A over E."
Is it?
I want to be on his side. I don't love the way this is swinging. Some of this swings out in public, like some of the stuff we talked about the last time about, targeting that, like he'd change the
coloring.
color of in post, and I'm like, that's just outlandish. I can't. At a certain point, you're hurting your argument, and I feel like if the investigation truly is in swing and Ray Fisher is confident about it, I'm like, you gotta kind of let this happen now.
Yeah.
Like most people are on your side. If there is something wrong, like the social media is pretty much on your side.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to rile them up in this kind of, I hate to say it, I really do, but it feels very Trumpian. in the way that he's creating a hunt after people who he's against, and I don't want it to feel that way, but that's sometimes how it feels with this kind of stuff, where I'm like, this isn't the way to do this argument.
Yeah,
I understand that like it's a problem if all of this is happening and you have to call attention to it in your best way, but attention's been called. People are watching, paying attention to what's going to go on there. I don't know that like creating stories about things that aren't given in fact is a great way to go about this.
It seems like, yeah, like when all this was like first announced, and like, yeah, we're gonna like be investigating all this stuff, and like I was mistreated, and like we're all behind that, but like not every single thing a person does is an attack. Like maybe he actually just left the project, because that's happens in Hollywood literally every single day. Like
Right.
This one feels like he is going for the jugular.
He's out for blood.
Yeah, and I mean I get it, like, but I guess, but when every single week there's like a false report, it kind of makes you start to look bad, and that kind of sucks, because he's actually trying to do something good, but he's just so passionate, he's not looking at the right things.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
Okay. Down with Joss Whedon. Okay. So we got some DC Comics news. 2 new comic books from DC Comics are coming. DC is releasing Challenge of the Super Sons, which will be a sequel to Adventure of the Super Sons, which in itself is an extension of Super Sons. Peter J. Tomasi is returning to write Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, with Max Raynor on art. This will be a digital first, however, running for 14 chapters. Afterwards will probably be collected in the 7-issue miniseries and then a trade.
Exactly like Injustice is doing right now.
And is Jonathan Kent a boy again?
Yep,
he looks like
this is the time period before Jonathan Kent. Whatever.
This is mid rebirth, not post Bendis rebirth. I don't know.
No, it's yeah.
It's what we want. It's just
what we want.
It's not bend out of shape.
Yeah.
You get back in the car and you drive back home.
I am home.
This is great. Like obviously, it's getting a physical print, so I'm not mad because if it was digital for only, I'd be like, give it to the people. But like the fact that it's getting a book, that book's dope. People love that book. People love those kids. People love those kids, not those teenagers. So it's nice.
I really miss John Kent as a 10-year-old. I really do.
People love Tomasi writing them, so I'm stoked.
Yeah.
As I am now a broken record because of, I still don't agree with the decision to make John Kent a 17-year-old.
I'm right there with you on that one, my friend.
Yeah. I think it really limited, like erased a lot of the, John Kent growing up in real time potential that you had there, and that was a bummer.
I mean, part of me gets why you age John Kent up and put him on the Legion of Superheroes, because you're bringing back.
I don't.
But at the same time, it's like, let the 2 Superboys be together. Let them learn from each other. That would have been, how cool would have been for have like young Jonathan Kent and Connor Kent go on an adventure together.
I'm not against aging him up. But you don't do it so quickly and immediate after a successful series of the 2 kids being teenagers.
Yeah.
Like it goes from 0 to 100. It's not like we got this like developing story of why he grew up. He just grew up. Like he just came back home and become an adult now. Like, but what? But no.
And even the story of how that happened, like Bendis was like, it all makes sense. Don't worry, it's all part of the plan. I don't hate this character. I love this character. And you're like, okay, well, this was stupid though.
Yeah,
you just wrote a stupid comic book about a stupid thing that you did.
I'm not saying he's Fantastic Four slotting it or anything, but
I'm not saying it.
But I'm not saying it.
You're not.
Anyway, so this story, picking up where Tomasi's sensational Super Sons and Adventures of Super Sons left off, Damian and John, the assassin-trained son of Batman and the boy next door son of Superman, tackle their greatest threat ever, the deadly Doom Scroll. Whoever has their name inscribed on this ancient and magical parchment will be killed post-haste.
Death Note.
Now the evil powers that be have written the names of the Justice League on the deadly dock, and Superboy and Robin are the only.
Oh, he's coming back. He just left.
I was gone because Sparks was staying very still. I was like, something wrong with his monitor.
He secretly hates the Super Sons.
Should I? All right, I'll finish this.
Just keep going.
And Superboy and Robin are the only ones who can save their dads from certain doom. The catch: no one can know it was the boys who saved them. Out December 14th.
No one could know it was the boys who saved them. So
Yeah.
it's like a secret? Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna save their pops from dying.
I like it.
Their
I'm
pops.
sure, I'm sure Sparks loves it. Can't wait for him to tell us about it.
Can someone text him?
Hey, Sparks!
He called down to him, please.
Yeah,
Isn't Megan trying to sleep right now?
probably. Sorry.
Yeah. Working on it, he says.
There you go.
All right, Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 is coming.
This surprised me because I
Finally.
saw this on Brandon's Instagram. I was like, what? Oh no, it wasn't his Brandon's. It was on the Fake Nerd Instagram. I was like,
doesn't matter what Instagram it was on. We finally know when Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 is coming. Potentially the final part of the Jeff Johns Gary Frank run. This is now 6 years after the second volume.
I'm imagining this is the last one.
He probably.
Just want to imagine.
Supposedly they've been working on it since the last one came out. So
but they also
all right,
are also working on a huge 12-issue
clock. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was wild hearing all these things. Is this book coming? Is it whatever? Anyway, where the last book ended, I'm very excited to see the third book coming. I really like this book series. This says, as Volume 3 opens, a heavily armored gang of criminals has begun terrorizing Gotham City. To Batman's horror, they seem to be led by Harvey Dent. Despite Dent's apparent death in Volume 2, however, given the way Volume 2 ended, it seems safe to assume Harvey's sister Jessica is the gang's actual ringleader. So, dealing with duality there. Because remember, at the end of that, what's her name? Jessica Dent has Harvey's personality in her.
Mm-hmm. Does she also have the scar?
And now she's scarred like Harvey was in normal. Yeah.
That's one of the things I actually really dig about the new, not the new 52, the Earth ones.
Yeah.
Because in Superman, it's not Alexandra.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also Alexander. It's Alexander and Alexandra.
Well, he dies at the end of book 3, and then
yeah,
his wife is the one who takes up the mantle of Lex Luthor.
Doesn't he die at the end of book 1?
No, he dies at
no,
the end
book 2. Book 2?
Oh, yeah, no, book 2. Or was it book 3?
Hi, Sparks.
Hey, Sparks. When did in Superman Earth 1, what book was it when Lex Luthor dies and his wife becomes Lex Luthor? Is it book 3 or book 2?
I genuinely don't remember.
Never mind.
It's definitely not 1.
It's definitely not 1.
I'm pretty sure it's 3 because that's the one with Zod. But
I think it's 3.
Yeah, I will confirm that later. Continue, Brandon.
So they talk. Gary Frank and Jeff Johns have talked about how they have a plan to bring in the Joker in this series of Earth 1 novels, graphic novels. It doesn't sound like book 3 will be that, which leads a lot of people to think that there is a 4th volume on the way. But this could also just be the end because Earth 1 books tend to end at 3. So
yeah,
Superman.
And he's launching an image book with Gary Frank.
Yeah. Yes.
So unless you're double teaming and going to get delayed every 6 months again, I doubt. I focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Green Lantern came out with Volume 2, right?
Yeah, it has not. Volume 3 is coming, but we don't know when.
Because it's been a while. I need to go get Volume 3 of Wonder Woman, Volume 2 of Green Lantern, and of course we're probably never gonna get Volume 3 of Teen Titans because I don't think
Mag, are you writing this down? This has been a shopping list
for Christmas.
No, Teen Titans Earth 1 was conceived as a 2-part volume series and not a 3-part one.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Cool shit. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics had a lot of cancellations this week.
Whoop whoop.
Books that were solicited before the pandemic have been officially canceled, will not be coming out. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, that Jody Houser was working on the adaptation. No loss there. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Morbius, which I guess was Vita Ayala.
Yeah, I was reading that book. That book's fun.
Oh, yeah. Amazing Spider-Man Daily Bugle, which was going to be about the Daily Bugle.
That one stinks because that one is like a cool like Marvel's perspective.
Yeah. And then Dark Agnes, the other book based off the Conan creator.
That one, I'm not shocked about that one at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. So
yeah, I I read the first volume, or at least like the first 4 issues of Morbius, and I dropped it because I wanted to give it a chance because it was Vita, and it was fine. It was fine book, but there was a lot of other books I'd rather read, and I gave it those 4 issues. And I guess everyone else agreed. It's goodbye, Morbius.
Yeah. All right.
Bye,
But
Morbius. Hope you find some blood.
The big news was that now that Ten of Swords is over, every X-Men creator put up "The Rain is Coming."
Yeah.
So after Ten of Swords, the Dawn of X is over, and the Reign of X has begun. They released that image that is on Ryan's background as a tease for it, which shows so many enticing images.
You got the Shadow King, and you got Arcade, and oh my god, is that Nimrod? Oh my god, is that Archangel Monet? Why is Quentin Quire exploding? Welcome to the Hellfire Gala. Storm.
Oh, dang! You can see Bay in the background.
Yeah, Bay is like, she's in canon, baby. She's here. Oh yeah.
Wait, is it Nimrod?
What?
Could be
next to Shadow King.
Oh yeah, it's Shadow King. Yeah.
No,
that thing next to Shadow King. It looks like an.
Oh,
because you're like, is that Nimrod? It's like that doesn't look like Nimrod, but it could be Nimrod.
And there's been many different incarnations of Nimrod over the last 60 years of X-Men. For 50 years.
I'm sorry, I only know the one. Forgive me and my ignorance.
The thing that I'm most looking forward to in the Reign of X is finding out what happened at X-23 in that vault. Oh,
Issue 18.
Baby.
Issue 18, baby.
Yeah. All right. The Reign of X is upon us, says CB Cebulski. And here's a sneak peek of what it will bring. Like Dawn of X and Ten of Swords before it, Reign of X has been meticulously crafted by Jonathan Hickman and all the other Uncanny X writers of our day. And we can't wait for you to see what they've cooked up. In the meantime, eagle-eyed readers should take a close look at this magnificent montage of mutants drawn by Mahmoud Asrar. Mahmoud Asrar.
Yeah.
Everything on this image was included for a reason. We'll have heart-pounding payoffs in the near future for our favorite Krakoans. After the dawn comes the rain, and what a rain it will be.
So, obviously, no X of Swords spoilers. Big changes, y'all. Big changes. And the rain is here, my guys. I cannot wait to talk about X-Men next week. And it's going to be raining all over my face every week after that.
Oh, boy. So we've got Hawks, Pox, Docs, and Rocks.
Yeah, so there's already people are saying that the very final one will be the Fall of X, so it could be they're going to Fox. But also, like, the Champions of X or, like, the Colonels of X. You know, we're trying to think of something for C's. We'll figure it out.
Let's not. Captains of X?
They can't do box. Beginning of X.
What about Lunch of X for Locks?
Locks of Love, yeah.
Legend of X.
I hope we're in this for many more years to come.
So
I can't wait for the next event, and then the event after that, and then the event after that. I want all these OX abbreviations.
Yes. It looks like, with the way that everything is structured, Jonathan Hickman said he had a 5-year plan, and this will be going into the third. This is like basically the third year, which will be the reign. So this will be the height of the X-Men, which probably does mean the 2 other arcs will be the downfall.
Every future we saw happen with Krakoa falling.
Guys, I'm telling you, there's stuff in X of Swords you haven't read yet, and I'm just like, God, they're so good. Just thank you, Hickman. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Hickman. I love you. It's so good. Oh my God.
Thank you, Daddy. Rain all that stuff on my face.
You heard it here first.
I cannot wait to have cons again, so I can. If Jonathan Hickman comes out to a convention,
you'll never meet him.
He also doesn't do cons.
Yeah. Never mind.
All right, moving on. Fantastic Beasts news, guys. We've heard rumors of this happening. It is now official. Warner Bros. Made it official. Mads Mikkelsen is, in fact, going to play Gellert Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts 3.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Damn it, Mads.
I'm going to have to hear some real good stuff about that movie to get that money. But now I have to watch it when it becomes available on home video.
Yeah.
Listen, if I could see it in theaters for $4, I'm just saying, $4, I can do that.
We'll see when the COVID ends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll see if that theater still does that when the COVID ends.
Oh no. It just becomes a regular movie theater.
Yeah, so there you go. So what is it? Fantastic Beasts and the
Does it have a title actually?
No, I'm trying to think of a stupid one.
And the
Whatever.
recasting of Grindelwald.
The crimes.
Recasting can have two meanings because casting spells is a thing.
Oh
Shit.
I hope it's not addressed. I hope it's just now he's just Mads Mikkelsen.
I hope it's really stupid, and I hope it's like Fantastic Beasts and the Triple Dumbledores or something.
God.
The 3 Dumbledores.
Yeah.
And you get you finally get Jared Harris to play the fake Dumbledore.
Yeah. And then you
They're all
shoot him
just
in
like
the head.
All right, Obi-Wan news. We got some news from the Illuminati. There was really not a whole lot I could put on the news this week, so
No, it's okay. I like fake news.
this ended up there. Naomi Scott is apparently in the running to play the lead female role in the new Obi-Wan TV series.
I love her.
Me too.
She's way younger than Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I doubt it's a love interest, but yes, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, I hope that. Yeah. No, she's great. Like Aladdin, Power Rangers. I love that
Yeah.
girl. Yeah.
I love her too. Charlie's Angels.
Oh, didn't see it.
Also in the running is Thuso Mbedu, and Anula Navlikar, which are both relatively unknown actors, but they're all up at the same part.
Wow, that Obi-Wan show, that's happening. God, man, Star Wars is cool, you guys. You know what?
You know, Star Trek Discovery season 4 started filming.
Wow.
Yeah, before Star Trek Picard season 2, which was renewed way before. And I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, that's because the whole cast of Star Trek Picard is high risk for COVID.
Yeah, they're all.
Whereas not the whole cast for Discovery is.
Everyone has like a walker on set. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why that's taken a while. Oh, by the way, Discovery had a pretty good episode this week. We had the third part to a 2-parter series from The Next Generation. The Next Generation had a crossover with Spock. Spock showed up to kind of like reunify the Romulan and Vulcan people because they came from the same ancestors. That was like his whole deal, what he wanted his legacy to be. And so he passed away, if you saw Star Trek 09. But now we are in the 32nd century, and his dream has become a reality, and Romulus and Vulcan are one species. They live on the planet Nivar, which used to be Vulcan. And so there's some good stuff with like Michael Burnham, who is Spock's sister, adopted sister, like seeing the fruit of Spock's labor before his death, like come to fruition, even if it's centuries later. I thought that was a pretty good episode, honestly.
People
So,
seem to like this season of Discovery, from what I've heard. Yeah.
It is almost 1,000% because Oded Fair is a sexy silver fox.
Oh,
Damn. I saw that going around, and I'm like, oh shit. I have to watch Discovery now for reasons.
we got Peter Gallagher and Grace and Frankie. Now Oded Fair and Star Trek. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Now I want a Peter Gallagher and Oded Fair project. Give it to me. Call it the Silver Foxes. I don't.
Oh my god. I love it.
The only thing about Discovery that I don't really like is I don't like magic technology, which is just like the nacelles float separately. The nacelles are no longer attached to the hull of the ship. Like, how does that even work?
Magnets.
And yeah. Anyway, it's good this season. I'm enjoying it.
I typed in Peter Gallagher, Oded Fair, and unfortunately they have not worked together.
Okay, but look up Oded Fair and Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
I want to see that sexy guy.
Okay, hold on. You guys talk. I gotta find it. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Discovery is a fun show this season. I was vamping again because I forgot what I wanted to say. So anyway, what I wanted to say was in the show. Oh,
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
There he is.
It's not gonna work. He does.
He's got a good beard. He's got some. Yeah, there's that guy.
Yeah, it's looking better. It's looking a little bit better. There he is.
There he is.
All right.
Well,
Good job.
You know, that's beard goals right there.
So the first in Star Trek: The Next Generation, when Spock showed up, it was an episode 2-parter called Unification Part 1 and Unification Part 3. This episode that aired on Part 2. This episode that just aired on Star Trek Discovery was called Unification Part 3, and I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
I'm sorry, Grant. The way you phrased that, I thought they went the underpants gnome route from South Park, where it's like Part 1, get underpants. Step 2, Part 3, profit. Like, did they just skip Part 2?
Yes.
All right. Now that we've
talking about the Oded Fair thing, just real quick, made me remember. I know we've talked about, but I don't remember if we talked about it on air. But I just that meme going around where it's like my sexual orientation is the first
Mummy.
Brendan Fraser mummy movie, the whole cast, and I'm like, you're right, all of them. Every
Yeah.
single one. That's my sexual orientation. You're correct.
Bunch of honeys, every single one of them.
All of them.
Benny, that's mine.
Benny.
Benny has his place.
Listen,
Benny
everybody
has his
loves-
place.
He
And
has
it's
a
on the
lot-
wrong side of the river.
With all the horses.
You know when he does the thing, when he does the you know that.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a real language he was speaking, but the subtitles were like speaking gibberish.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's awful. Because clearly that's like a real religious symbol, and it's just like hobbity hobbity
Yeah,
hobbity.
Yeah, but he's the stupid character who would definitely like not know how to do it.
Yeah,
God, I need to watch that movie again.
that is a good movie. All right, anyway,
Is that still on Netflix or is it on Peacock?
I am not looking. Time to talk about the Boss Baby 2 Family Business.
Oh, can we not?
Oh, is that really all the news?
That's it. Here we go.
All right, we're gonna talk about Boss Baby for 45 minutes.
I don't want to.
I will say it is bold of them to make a sequel that's like 30 years later about the Boss Baby being grown up. That's kind of dumb, and I like it. It still looks really, really bad.
Yeah.
It still looks like talking baby. Like,
Baby Core has given us baby making formula. You could be a baby for 48 hours.
Why would you? No.
it's just
Because Alec Baldwin was the best baby.
I don't understand how we're still at a point where like major animation films are made for children in a way that still talks like
Down to
just
them?
garbage at them.
yeah.
Like it's not engaging with them on a real. It's just like flashy dumbness. Here's flashy dumbness, and I'm like, wow, we're still here.
Who makes this?
Wow. DreamWorks.
DreamWorks. Okay.
They had a
Talk
good
about
run.
a studio that's hit or miss.
No, for real. Like, man, like their hits are like Pixar level, and their losses are just like the bottom of the barrel.
What is so
When they
strange to
whiff,
me?
they whiff bad.
What is so strange to me, like the same company could put out Boss Baby, but also put out How to Train Your Dragon 2, Kung Fu Panda 2, Megamind,
Yeah.
like
Shrek.
Prudes.
the Croods, the Shrek, most of the Shrek films.
Yeah.
Half
One,
the Shrek
two.
films.
Wild. Anyway,
It's twice the product, but half the quality.
because what's so interesting is that it's like, yeah, okay, How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda are really good movies. I love How to Train Your Dragon 1. How to Train Your Dragon 2 and Kung Fu Panda 2 are awesome movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even nominated for an Oscar. Boss Baby? No.
It was. Oh, I think actually it was. I think because that was maybe a bad
You're
year.
I'm sure it was.
It was. It was.
Sure it
it
was.
was
Best
Best
animated feature.
film, which it lost, if I remember correctly, because
Oh.
I'm pretty sure if Boss Baby won.
Was that Toy Story? Was that Toy Story year?
No, it wasn't
No, Toy Story 3 went up against How to Train Your Dragon 1, and I was actually pissed that How to Train Your Dragon lost.
I don't even remember. I never saw Boss Baby.
I mean, Toy Story 3 was really good. It's just a shame they came out the same year.
Yeah. Anyway,
Uh,
Happy Feet beat Cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I when I saw the first trailer for the first Boss Baby, I said that is a product that's definitely not for me at all. I saw this one and I was like, this is aggressively not for me. This
Yeah.
is like stupid on a level. This is borderline watching. You know what this is? This is borderline watching like a really talented, well-financed production company for animation making something that's barely a hair above that stupid wolf movie that
Alpha.
that Jeremy
Alpha
Renner
Omega?
did.
Alpha.
No, the one that
Oh.
Jeremy Renner did, where he's like, "Did you hear that? It's like the Earth farted, or whatever he said," and that was really stupid.
it's
Or
the
or
Arctic
I've got
movie.
another one for you. Or the Norm of the North movie,
Yes.
with Rob Schneider.
Yes.
It is like a hair above that, just barely
What?
above.
You didn't
that.
like it when Alec Baldwin walked around and money just flying around him?
Arctic dogs.
Yep.
That's the one.
Yeah.
This is like just a notch above it, and I'm like, this is like a real big animation studio. There should be something more here, right?
Mag,
No.
don't even worry about it, bro. It's not worth your time.
They
Just-
have Mag. You'll find out soon, because we're blagging. I forgot. Whatever. All right, that's enough of the Boss Baby.
Boss Baby 2.
Okay,
Did it have an animated series?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. It has a Netflix animated series.
Has multiple. The last I saw, but I'm really guys. The
It's
second
one series, multiple seasons.
Nobody pumps out cheap animated shows based off their films like DreamWorks. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I didn't finish the trailer. The second
I don't blame you.
second Jeff Goldblum popped up, he started talking. I was like, "Oh, Jeff, why?" I just
Yeah.
That's pretty late in the trailer. You made it through a lot.
yeah, but I still collect snow. Like the only part I liked was like the brothers were still fighting, and then like up until the youngest daughter starts talking, and they're like, "She can talk." It's like, okay, nope.
These are the
Alright.
movies that still make it so that like in civilized conversation you have to like be like it's an animated movie. No. Like for everybody, not just for kids. And you still have to put that qualifier on because of shit like this.
Apparently, Mag just said rather watch Captain Underpants. I heard that movie was good.
I heard that as well.
I did too. I grew up with that and never watched it. Maybe I should give it a chance.
I need to give it a watch because I actually wanted a Captain Underpants movie when I was young, and I was waiting for one. And I finally got one. Well into my 20s.
Captain Underpants, the main feature of your scholastic book fair at school.
Oh, dude, the page turns. Oh,
Yeah,
that was the best.
I
used to make my own.
Or when you actually had to write down is like I yelled this so loud and got in trouble, and they would send you a care package full of like fun little goodies. We did that once. It was awesome.
My final note on Captain Underpants, they absolutely taught me how to rearrange letters on like churches and places because I did that a lot as a kid. You guys, I was a prankster. Oh boy.
I got Captain Underpants long because for their homemade comic books, and I loved that.
Okay, that'll do it for the news.
That'll do it.
All right, well, I guess we got to talk about the movie now. So, full
time to-
spoilers.
Come away into this review.
Full spoilers for the movie Come Away. If you've not heard of it, don't worry. We'll tell you what it's about right now. This is the Peter Pan Alice in Wonderland origin crossover movie with Angelina Jolie, David Oyelowo.
Crossover.
I don't know if that's the best way to describe it anymore, but I get what you're saying, so go ahead.
But it's not wrong.
So, full spoilers. If you've not seen it. So let's move into it. Ben, what did you think?
The potential.
Ryan, what'd you think?
The potential. The result.
Yeah, I was looking at the minute counter this entire movie for when things happen, how quickly they happen, because I was flabbergasted by some of the choices in this movie. And for the first 5 minutes, I was into it. The first 5 minutes when the kids were doing the imagination stuff and like they're imagining having a war and like the piece of wood becomes a bow and arrow. I was really into that. That's the type of imagination stuff you don't get to see in film. But then the rest of the movie happens and it's really dramatic when I don't think it needs to be. I think it's tonally all over the place. I think most of the acting is kind of bad, and I think Angelina Jolie is wholly wasted. I kind of don't like this movie, you guys.
Sparks.
I'm definitely not in that far of the negative at all. I don't feel like most of the acting was bad.
I think the kids were bad.
I think one kid was bad.
I think one of the kids was bad.
And I think the other two were actually all right.
The older kid, right? The taller kid? He was the bad
one who dies, David.
Oh my god.
That okay, like we'll get into it. I'll hold off. I don't think that the acting was bad. I think that the script gets. I thought the movie was going to be something else when it started. It shifts tones. I kind of followed it, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be like this. I can accept this. I can get into this. And then the third act decided to change back to the thing that I initially thought it was going to be, but it has done so after I have now been deeply steeped in a different type of movie. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was prepared for a different ending. And that really throws me. And more than anything, like I found it comfortable. I found it good. I don't, however, find it incredibly recommendable. And I don't find it memorable. And I wish it had been better. But I'm not 100% against it.
So I was hoping when I was watching this. Yeah,
may I say my initial thoughts real quick?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I was pretty bored. I did not have a good time watching this. I felt it was paced, not just totally inconsistent, but paced awfully. For an hour and a half, it feels like a 2.5 hour film.
I agree. I agree.
But you know what? Look, it's okay.
I have to applaud like what the movie's trying to do. Because I think it's shot really well. I think it looks pretty good. And I like the central idea of crossing over these two different stories and making them weave together. I'm not against. But again, I find the execution, especially of so many of the side characters, to be just fully wasted in every capacity.
I don't think the crossover works.
I find it baffling at times. It's like they had to do it for no reason. I'm like, you didn't have to make this part to crossover. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't. Like, I found it just messy.
If I may, real quick, I ultimately feel like it's a Peter Pan origin story that said, what if Alice was
also
of
here,
imagined in it, but not 100% like the Alice you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I kind of had an issue with the crossover thing, because whenever they had the Alice in Wonderland stuff, it just felt like it didn't belong.
It felt shoehorned.
Yeah, but the Peter Pan stuff, it, like Spark said, it does feel like it's a Peter Pan thing. I do want to point out real quickly, and Ben, I'm going to pass to you real quickly. The director of this film has only directed 3 films, and this is one of them. And I want to point that out because I think that's awful. The fact that there are so many female directors that have very, very long gaps between movies they direct. Mm-hmm. The first movie she directed was The Prince of Egypt.
Oh,
the second one was Brave.
What?
So that's 1998 to 2012.
Yeah,
and she didn't do a movie, and then 2012 to 2020 with Come Away.
Yep,
I think that sucks.
That does suck, regardless of the movie. Yeah,
I agree.
That's always a bummer. Yeah.
Anyway, so Ben, you wanted to say something?
She's definitely 2 for 3. But I was really hoping for like a Wizard of Oz sort of thing in this movie, whereas Alice and Peter get whisked away to like Neverland or Wonderland, and then it's kind of so like when you meet the aunt for the first time, she's the Red Queen, she's the Queen of Hearts, and then you see her mom.
But then sometimes Angelina Jolie is the Queen of Hearts.
Well, or the White Queen, technically in the book, it's because both of them are but she does say off of their head and yada yada yada. But it's like, oh, you get so like when you meet the grandfather. I know that's way later in movies. Like he's the Mad Hatter and the uncle is gonna be Captain Hook. I was like, oh, this could have been great. And then when it's like, oh, it's just their imagination. Maybe they become the writers of the story. I don't know.
I kind of didn't want it to be the imagination, though. I kind of wanted it to be like they were creating a fantasy land in front of them. Like that was just coming true.
But the thing that really gets me, that grinds my gears, is that the very end of the movie, it's like, oh, Neverland is real. Peter gets whisked away. I was like, what?
Yes.
What is this bullshit? What?
Yeah.
You imagine like when he's fighting with his
because if Neverland is not real, then when Wendy is stolen from her mother's window, that moment plays very differently.
It turns into a much different movie. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's my problem with this movie, man. It's like
you could have had such a fantastical world. You could have such a fantastical thing, like the Lost Boys. When we see them running through the streets of London, or when they're on the way to the pawn shop, it's like, okay, cool. These are like the representation of the Lost Boys. But then the Lost Boys comes out of the freaking tree.
I didn't like the Lost Boys. I thought it was. The more I think about this movie, the more I dislike it, because I just feel like all of these other elements, they're not used well at all.
No, they're not.
So I want to put forth that I tried to find out, and there's nowhere that I can because this movie's not big enough to be talked about enough in this capacity. But I feel like the beginning and ending were not originally part of the concept of this movie. With Alice grown up, I feel like it's shoehorned in to incorporate the darling stuff. And I feel like the story without those two things is pretty good.
Yeah.
It really is the push into the darling stuff that makes me like really unhappy with the ending. Like if you don't have that, I'm much more content with what this movie is overall. Because when the movie decides, I don't think it executes all these ideas well. But when the movie decides this is going to be an exploration of a family from different perspectives with grief, how that translates into different imaginations, I'm like, cool. If it's all metaphorical and that's how we're doing this, great. Totally here for it. And then it blurs the line at the end, and I'm like, what's real?
Christopher
and what's
Robin.
Not real.
And so here's the thing. So here's the thing that kind of bugs me about the ending as well. I'm not crazy about Wendy Darling being Peter Pan's niece.
I get
that's
that.
That's a romantic relationship.
Let me be clear. First off, in the book, it's less romantic. Number one. Number two, I don't think that because most things in this aren't translated literally, one for one. I mean, Hook's also not Peter's uncle. Like, that part doesn't matter to me. But again, that goes back to why, like, I feel that element is forced just to tie in the Darlings and make the Peter Pan thing more solidified. And I'm like, you didn't need that. I didn't need Alice telling me about that. I don't mind Alice's narration, but I don't need to see her in the future, and I don't need her family to be the Darlings. You could have just had it be the little girl, have some unseen voice who's her older narrator telling about essentially the time she lost both her brothers.
Yeah.
For different reasons.
Can we talk about David's death? Because that kid looks like he fell into a pond that's 1 foot deep. Because if you look at the way that boat...
He got electrocuted.
He got electrocuted.
By lightning.
Yeah.
He got struck by lightning. The lightning struck the water right next to him.
Oh, wow. I guess I just missed that somehow. Wow. Okay.
He got electrocuted.
Okay. I guess I missed that part then. Never mind that critique. Because I just saw like a kid fall in water and like the thing drop, and I'm like,
you know what, Ron?
It's foot deep.
No, you hear the thunderclap, and then you see.
Was it raining? Was it raining or thundering before he fell?
They heard the thunder as he went in.
When he's on the boat and he's fighting the pirates, and you see the storm cloud, the thunder clouds roll in.
Oh, I remember the storm clouds coming in.
He falls. He's trying to get out, and then the lightning strikes the water close to him.
Basically, a longer version of what Sparks just said.
Okay, I guess I was looked away or something. Yeah, I guess I just missed him. It was so fast. Wow. Okay.
Right. It was a lightning strike, so it was a blink and you missed it.
I don't guess I literally blinked. Wow.
So literally, like what it looked like on the screen was just like you saw the bright flash of the bolt above the water, and then his body stops moving. So you connect that. Oh, he was electrocuted.
So I absolutely missed the part where he got struck, but I saw his body in water. So I just thought he fell into a river that was like 1 foot deep, and they were just trying to make us look. It's okay. So that's not a problem then. I found this movie to be way more dramatic than I think it should have been. I really think this movie shouldn't have been as dour if it's trying to be so fantastical at points. Something like a Hugo. Have you guys ever seen Hugo? That movie's dope as hell.
I love that movie.
Yeah, the movie's dope. That like rides the line of being like fantastical but also realistic. And like I found this movie like the stuff with the dad and like his debts, and I was like, this feels like, you know, like in Star Wars Episode 1 where kids don't care about trade policies? Kids don't care about parents being in debt. Like, this is not the story. I don't care
about parents being in debt.
This is not the story that this movie should have had, I thought. This was boring as hell.
I didn't like when it led into the debt stuff until I realized it was his family.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, when the kids... And I caught onto it because I was watching with Megan, and Megan said it first. But while we were sitting and watching it, when they meet the Hatter...
Yeah.
Who is their grandfather, she's like, that's Grandpa. That's definitely Grandpa. And I'm like, oh, now the debt thing works for me because it's like about family relations. It's somewhat about classism in London. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all of these things are wonderful things to play with, and I have nothing against them. Again, like, if I'm looking at the film completely structured as metaphor for how their imaginations are playing with them all going through grief in their own ways, I don't have a problem with it. What makes it not work for me is the way that they handle the ending of it, where it's like, no, 100% everything that happened with Peter at least is like literal. And I'm like, nope, it's not. That didn't work.
His hand turns into a hook.
That's kind of the issue. The movie can't. That's I think what Ryan meant totally inconsistent. Like the film doesn't know if it wants to be metaphor or if it wants to be a true kind of like a true telling of that origin. It never decides throughout the whole movie whether or not what it wants to do.
I think worse than that is that it does decide and then changes its mind. It's not like it's fluctuating in the middle. In the middle of the movie, it is metaphor. Everything is subtle and small and minimalistic. And then all of a sudden it's
Dream
big
dust.
and bombastic and everything. And I'm like, yo, what? And that's really my issue, is that it changes its mind. If it had stuck through metaphor all the way to the end, I would have been into it. I would have been like, dope. I even think like it's the fighting on the pirate ship at the end and the gold showing up, and I'm like, yo, what? But if Peter Pan had even just like the Peter imagery of like the last time he saw his parents is like him covered in the dust and everything, I'm like, that would work. That's still in the metaphor range that I can buy. But the way everything else worked out, I just
Like the whole thing for the metaphor was, I was because we would see like them in the very beginning, them playing in their imagination, the sticks turn into swords and bows and arrows. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Then of course it's like the flashes of like all like the boat, like this grand pirate ship they find, and then it's like it's just a rundown ship that's just washed up on the beach. It's like, okay, cool. One of the things I'd love to see how they pull off was stealing from Uncle James. Was how did they steal that?
Yeah,
but of course it's still the fantasy. It's them in the pirate costume. It's
but like at that point, it's even question like, is it a fantasy? Because they are actually stealing gold, but how'd they get the ship?
Yeah,
like,
but then you see the gold at the dad's workstation.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That like it doesn't. How did they get that gold by boat? If that boat was topside, was just a little rinky-dink thing flipped over and.
That's why the confusion is there,
Brandon, that's what I'm saying, is I wanted to see the metaphor like, oh, it's like a pirate battle. We fought pirates, when in reality, you just stole from your uncle. How did you steal from your uncle in the real world, not in the fantasy world?
Yeah.
For example, like where I think metaphor imagery works really well is when she steals the alcohol. But to her, it's a blue potion.
Yes.
So
to her, it's this, but it's alcohol, but this is how she interprets it. And I'm like, this works for me. This is imagination and reality. I've seen both images at the same time. I get it.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Ben.
I hate that. I despise that moment because there's absolutely no consequence whatsoever.
So screw you, Sparks.
No. I know. I like that how the way that Alice sees the brandy as it's a potion. It's a blue potion. It says, drink me. Okay, cool. And she just sees herself growing small. There's no consequence. There is nothing happens. It's just you go small. I feel like you see her grow small, like, oh, because that's what happened in the book.
That's what a lot of this movie is. It's like, and I don't know a lot about Peter Pan or Alice in Wonderland. So for me, this is a fresh movie. This is like I'm the person they want us to see, right? Like, oh, going with a fresh perspective on these characters and stuff. But the stuff I do know, I still didn't like the Tinkerbells thing. I thought that was whatever. Like that was pointless to me.
One of the things that really bugged me that I feel that this movie does not need, if you take out the ending especially, I feel like this movie does not need to be about Peter Pan and Alice. It could be about any two kids in London at this time and still be the same movie.
Yeah.
So like it's just kind of like I'm watching this and I'm like, what's the point of this thing
but
right now?
The problem is even though Sparks, I know it's not what the movie is. It leads into Peter Pan and like in a weird way. So it is like an origin, but it doesn't. I don't think it works as well.
I don't think it needs to be either. I don't think it needs to be about Peter Pan or Alice.
And all we see for Alice is just her falling down a rabbit hole, wearing the blue dress. Whether you're a fan of the Disney film or not, it's like it's the blue dress, and then it's like all the the books, the teacup, and then you see the White Queen stroking the white rabbit. And then it's like
stroking the white rabbit.
She's petting.
Ben, I do want to point out like the blue dress serves more than one purpose of just being like iconically representative of Alice. It's also that she's about to leave with her aunt, who she believes is going to make her a lady. That is a maid's outfit. That is not her going to be made upper class. That is her going to be made servant of the upper class. It does serve an extra purpose. So I want to push back on that idea. Like there are things in here that are very good and very subtle and very like building to these ideas of like classism, where they're using like their father's race and what they are because of it, and how she's trying to enforce that. Yes, exactly. Like I think all the stuff honestly around the aunt story is done really well. The infertility attacks, the way that she covets raising the kids because of it is really gross, but her opinions of them are worse because they're they're part black, and so she's like looks down on them. I think all of that aspect is super good, which is the part where Alice's story really works for me. So the blue dress I really like because it's a very specific look, the way that they did it, because it's the apron on top. It's not part of the dress's color. It's an apron on top, implying her being made into a maid.
Okay.
I want to...
Because when I saw the dress, I just thought that's the Alice in Wonderland dress. I didn't really see the apron on top.
It was her aunt's version of like, I'm going to make you civilized as a black person can be in my eyes, which is a servant.
I want to take back everything I said about this film. This film is great when you compare it to Once Upon a Time having Peter Pan be Rumpelstiltskin's dad.
I don't want to talk about that. Okay.
Excuse me?
Ryan,
save yourself.
Don't worry. I heard the sentence. That's all I need.
Peter Pan it's an evil Peter Pan who has been de-aged, who was at one point Rumpelstiltskin's father. And it's really funny. Robert Carlyle walks up to this like 16-year-old boy and says, "Hello, Papa."
I'm gonna find this on YouTube. Cool.
Just watch it on Disney Plus, my man.
No, just the scene. I'm not watching it.
Real quickly, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, which I feel is the better Once Upon a Time, is on Disney Plus.
That's true.
I did try to be positive. I did like the stuff with the ants. I
did too.
I just think Angelina Jolie was just like crying this entire movie. Like she didn't do anything. She was just crying and being sad. And I felt like David Oyelowo did so much more than Angelina Jolie just being stuck in her house being sad.
I think she just wasn't given enough room. Yeah. I think she wasn't given enough room. I do think like the resolution connection between her and her daughter is missing, and it's badly needed in this movie for that story to work. A kind of reaching out beat. There's a lot of things like I think that the Brandy scene is really good. I think her reaction to the slap is really well done. The way that she finds out what her sister said to her daughter and what she takes with that information. I think all those, there's so many nuggets of like little pockets where I think this is really solid. This is really solid character stuff. And Angelina Jolie has a fair shake of it, but it's not enough. It's not enough to provide the full arc that I think you're right that she's deserved, because the father figure of David Oyelowo's is favored. And I mostly like that, but then I feel like his arc is forgotten in the very end, and not actually given a button, in a sense. It's like a really solid story that I just don't feel like has an actual ending. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I think bums me out, because honestly, again, like pretty much right up you get to the point where he turns the corner and their uncle turns into a pirate. I'm pretty on board with the movie. I'm not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. I think that like Peter's sense of being the lesser of his siblings, and then David passing and carrying that weight and that guilt and that kind of responsibility, and then just trying to find, I do think like the debt thing is a little shoehorned in, but the fact that it ties into a family connection and Peter being so adamant, like I need to find a way to prove I'm just as useful to the family, I think all that works. None of it bothers me. I like when he finds out that CJ was his uncle. I like when he realizes he was tricked. I think all those bits work really well. It really is the turn of the third act, the end of the third act, really, that just makes all that not get to land. And that's my only real issue with it. Up to that point, I think that it is more or less well fleshed out character stuff, because everything in that third act is the problem. Like it doesn't have the resolution properly for Angelina Jolie and her daughter. It doesn't have a button on David Oyelowo's story. It just focuses on turning Peter into Peter Pan, and I wasn't here for that concept.
I think even the stuff with Alice in that last act doesn't work, because it feels kind of like shoved in there, because like, oh right, we have to do the Alice thing too.
So her running into the hole, like her running away from the aunt because she realizes in that moment that she is going to do her wrong, works for me. But I agree, like the kind of abridged encapsulation of her adventure in Wonderland doesn't translate. Yeah. And I think almost worse, Ryan, you pointed out earlier that this is more for an audience that isn't familiar with the books. I would argue this is for an audience that's only familiar with the books.
Maybe that's what it is, yeah.
Because what it is like you don't need to know the Adventure in Wonderland. You know what this whole story is. That story supplanted here because that's the imagination. Because part of the point is that like when Alice comes out the other side of Wonderland, she has a newfound appreciation for her family. That is a 1-for-1. So you're meant to like mentally implant the story there. And I think that's kind of part of what they're working with in the end. I just don't like that concept. I do want to push back on the Tinker's Bell thing. I really like the way they came about with it, to be honest, that it is a bell made by the Tinker, so it's Tinker's Bell, Tinker Bell. And that is like the concept of where fairies come from in the Peter Pan story. That's how it works. She basically recites that 1-for-1 out of the book. So I thought that element worked really well for me. I thought it was weird and interesting that it's Alice who has it. And it's supposed to kind of connect over to like a guardian over Peter, essentially like a surrogate sister.
But doesn't she
part ways?
But she's just like, okay, go to Peter now. Like,
yes.
but like out of no reason, just like, all right, you belong with Peter.
Like,
I'm saying like the concept I think works. The execution is poor.
I think that's my problem with the whole movie. It's just like, almost like for me, like all the execution. Maybe if I was a bigger fan of both properties, I'd maybe care more. But like, it just doesn't make me want to visit these characters or anything, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
To lightly put it, one of my big problems with this movie is kind of like my issue with the Cloverfield films. It's like, just pick one and stick with it. Do you want to be a film that's based in metaphor where the child's imagination is what they see, but this is what's really happening? Or do you want to be highly fantastical? Just pick one, because the way you're doing both does not fit.
Yeah.
I hope the next Cloverfield, I really desperately hope the next Cloverfield film makes no sense, because I really want to hear Ben rant about Cloverfield again.
It's actually a fantasy movie next.
It's like, welcome to the kingdom of Cloverfield. God damn it! What are you?
Clofeldia.
You hear that, Abrams?
Sorry.
Hey, Chief, boy, do I got a story for you.
Yeah, again, like I really go back to like I think I don't think that the metaphor thing becomes a problem until you hit that point at the end of the third act where it just literally starts showing like pirates and Peter Pan, the crocodile, and all that. Yeah. Up to that point, I think they toe the line all right. Yeah. It kind of works for me. And then it's just because they go into that fantastical direction, everything else just doesn't get to hit the beats it's supposed to anymore for the film that preceded.
Yeah. Because like I want to talk about.
Go ahead. No, I'm about to change topics. So
just like again, like my favorite stuff like was the fantastical stuff where like it was just them like holding a piece of wood and it turns into something. I wish the whole movie would have been that, because then I don't need to worry about is it like this or is it like this? You're showing me what it is.
I agree. Like one of the moments I thought worked really well is Alice when she's scared of her mom and sees her turn into the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah,
I'm like that works. That is like literal and showing me what she's seeing, but I'm seeing what everyone else is seeing, but I'm seeing what she's seeing, and I get it. That's the exact kind of thing I want to see throughout this movie.
Her turning, like staying off of his head, and you see the hearts and the cards and everything behind her. I thought that was cool, because I'm like, cool, we're still lining it's the metaphor. It's the metaphor of her mom turning into the Queen of Hearts. Yeah. And then it just fumbles the ball.
Yeah. I think both Alice and Peter actors do the best with what they have material wise. I think Peter actually comes off being the kind of the most. I think he does a really good job of feeling like an ostracized sibling. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't. I genuinely get that vibe from him constantly throughout the film. Like he is the kind of outsider in his own family, and his sister wants to connect to him, but she was definitely closer to David because both of them were. And their relationship isn't as solid, and he definitely feels like the black sheep. And I thought that was executed really well. I do want to talk about David, because David is definitely like probably the thorn in my side of this movie, even more so than the ending. Because first off, I don't like what the actor's doing with the part. He's too big in comparison to everyone else.
He's so loud.
I think that actor's concept of connection is weirdly flirtatious in like everyone he tries to engage with, and I'm like, I don't think you know how to convey this in a sibling way. This just feels weirdly romantic with both of them. In a bizarre way. I'm like, that was the vibe I was getting. I checked with Megan. I'm like, am I reading that wrong? Or does
The
it feel like
chemistry-
he's flirting with them?
Yeah, the chemistry was off for Peter and was I say Wendy? No, Peter and what's her name?
Alice.
Alice. Sorry, I thought I was being maybe a little harsh. I think they're fine. But man, yeah, anytime that David kid was talking, man, I'm just like,
Well,
wow, he's so bad.
When the other two kids are like engaging in things, I at least feel like there are characters present. When he's saying things, I feel like he's doing line readings, and I hear it.
Somebody yelled a line to him, and he just repeated it.
Yeah, and then the other thing that gets to me about it is that I'm like, outside of needing to create this idea of grief for the family, I don't think David needs to be part of the movie, and that's the part that really gets to me. Is I'm like, I don't like that all the basic ideas of. Okay, I guess I need to phrase this a little differently. I do kind of like the idea that all the basic imaginational foundations for their stories come from David. But that only works if they stay metaphorical and as representations of them dealing with his death. But that's not what the movie does, and therefore I just don't like it. I wish that they'd more appropriately, like, David feels like the part that really makes the movie wonky. It's where it like changes the family dynamic in a way that they don't seem to know how to completely say what they want to say with it. Because that family dynamic is, outside of David, pretty freaking good when the movie starts.
It becomes so depressing. Like, it's such a shift in the movie. Like 30 minutes in when he dies, like, it is when it's at the funeral, it is such a cut that I was emotionally like, I am not in this scene, because it was from 0 to 100. Like, I know this kid died, but like, this movie just like turned into a different movie for me.
So in the very beginning of the movie, older Alice Darling, is talking about how she always remembers summer she was 8 because they found the boat. And it's them and her, it's her and her brothers. And then after David's funeral, they're looking in the, essentially Peter's looking glass, and you see that black whoosh. Across, which is supposed to be Peter's shadow. This is where I thought, okay,
David's shadow. David's shadow.
David's shadow. Thank you. You see David's shadow go through, and I'm like, okay, this is where we get to the fantastical spots part. This is where we go to Wonderland. This is where we go to Neverland. This is where they forge their paths and their destinies. Nope. Nope.
I think also I'm helped by the fact when I went into it, I didn't want literal. I didn't want them to literally do the entire Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan stories. So most of the movie is what I wanted, which is like imagination used as metaphor for dealing with human life things. One thing is, for the first half hour, I couldn't figure out if Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland were stories that they knew. And that was getting to me. Because the way that David would just kind of throw things out, I'm like, are they just like their favorite books? It would be the right time period.
That's what I mean. Like, some of the references are just like, hey, Peter Pan? And I'm just like, are you Peter Pan, or do you know Peter Pan trying to be Peter Pan? Like, I was also with you a little bit until we got later on, but I'm like, hey, remember Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah.
It's like a Marvel movie over here, you guys.
Yeah, it's I'm glad that they never like out and out said anything more than like really like Peter Pan and the Lost Boys as concepts with Tiger Lily. They never like called Neverland by name or Wonderland by name in like a concept that they knew of, and I'm like, that'd be maybe a bridge too far for me on this one.
They say Neverland exists at one point.
But it's a map of Neverland.
Yeah.
Yes,
they talk about Neverland.
That's right.
They do talk about Neverland, that it exists. Absolutely, yeah.
And Alice mentions that she never found the rabbit hole to Wonderland ever again.
Ooh.
But that's post. I mean, in the pre-setup with like David and stuff, that it's like, oh, and then you take your adventure to Wonderland, and I'm like, okay, so this is just like 100%.
And one more thing and another thing that kind of buzzed me is like they were talking about how grown-ups can't dream anymore.
Yeah.
And it's because of, and then Alice, and it's never mentioned, and there are a lot of times where it's like, oh, you could have made that like a driving force. It's like, oh, our parents can't dream anymore. It's like after David dies, our parents can't dream anymore. Let's help them dream again.
Yeah,
then,
that could have been. Yeah, actually, yeah.
And the only time it's brought up is at the very end of the movie when Wendy's staring off into the sky, sees a second star to the right, and the stars like drifting away because of the golden dream dust. Which, yeah, that was another. Guys, I don't like this movie.
I don't either, but here's two things I do like. I like that Captain Hook's door has a giant like kaleidoscope thing that, or like what's it called?
I like that.
Periscope?
Periscope. Thank you. A periscope that comes out and it's like all doohickey. I thought that was dope. And the scene where all the Lost Boys are
Telescope.
Telescope. I think Periscope was actually right.
No, Periscope is the one on the submarines where you go boop.
You're right. Telescope. Anyway, when all the kids are dreaming and they're talking about, and all the dreamscapes, and it shows this old man try to grab their dreams, and he's just like, I can't get the dreams. And I'm like, that's cool. That's cute. I wanted the whole movie to be a lot of that. And, that's okay.
So, I've been negative, but it was a quick moment. But one part that really did work for me is when the kids meet their grandfather for the first time.
Yeah.
Where he goes around the room and like when I first seen him, it was like, he's real, and then he moves around the room. It's like, okay, that's cool. But
he's like hiding and stuff. Yeah, that was good.
He's hiding and playing fight, but I think he's a marionette.
Speaking of that, the moment when he holds the watch and there's a recognition, but it's not 100%.
Are you sure you want to sell? Are you sure you want to sell?
Are you sure you want to? Do you have to part with it? Really good that he doesn't 100% recognize that it's his watch that he gave. But like, there's a glimmer of it there. I thought that actor did a great job being the Hatter and being their grandfather. I thought he was really good. And honestly, I really liked the energy between James and his brother
Jack.
When David Oyelowo, Jack gets there. James and Jack when they're face to face. I thought that was a really good chemistry. I honestly wish they had more than a single scene of it.
I think I definitely wanted more Captain Hook as well, but like at that point, I'm just like, what do I personally want?
Like at first when he mentions his name was CJ, I was like, Captain CJ, Captain like, is that supposed to be Captain James Hook? But
I googled it to see what CJ stand for. It was Captain James.
I didn't think about. I didn't think the first initial would be Captain.
Neither did I. That's what I was like. Yeah.
It's like, you call yourself the captain?
Yeah.
His name, I was just like, his legal name's not Captain James.
He legally changed it, yeah.
But and again, go ahead.
Was Michael Caine supposed to be the walrus? Or was that Disney Disney edition?
Michael Caine was in this movie. Yes, I forgot about him.
I don't think he's meant to directly correlate to anyone specific.
But he does have the whiskers.
Honestly, Sparks, I was just bullshitting there.
Do you think Michael Caine was called up and was like, hey, do you want to do this part? It's like, is there food? Sure. Okay.
He shows up for one day, like, put on this mustache, you get a free meal.
Megan was pointing out to me because she was looking through the cast that like several of these actors have all worked together on previous projects before with the screenwriter, I think. So so I think they were all kind of lured together for it by that. And I can understand, like, when you hear the premise on paper, like, it sounds really good. And again, I have no proof that the beginning and ending were shoehorned in at the last second by somebody, but they definitely don't feel like they fit. So I think that somebody was afraid the movie didn't work without him. Because,
some producer, yeah.
Because I think the film works a lot better when you take those two pieces out. Personally. The other thing I was going to say was, Ben was talking about Michael Caine.
Sorry.
You guys know how you say Michael Caine in British? In British, you say my cocaine. Yeah, my cocaine.
Oh, I know.
My cocaine. Wait, I did it wrong.
You did it. Yeah, you did it. My cocaine. What you got, Sparks?
I thought there were a lot of solid elements. I thought that the whole movie kind of felt weirdly like a filmed play. Yeah. In like a not a bad way. But in a way that worked for me. I feel like they just didn't come to a concise resolution of what everything that had been set up through most of the movie would have worked towards. And I think that was there, and it just didn't get stamped in and nailed down. And I like the classism about the brothers. The fact that Jack has essentially made it for himself but he's looked down on, and he's poorer, more poor than his brother, and his brother is the underground lower class scum that most other upper classes would stick their nose down at. But you look at how he's done for himself, and that's the family he kind of comes away from, and their dynamic because of that. I'm like, honestly, like I wish this movie had both handled like the children's arcs a little better, but also just like really driven home this idea of like gross classism overbearing on this family that decided to be mixed race and like make it on their own, which is really what's at play in a lot of elements for all of them, really. Like Peter's treated differently in school and not given a lot of chances because he's black. And like the blackest of the three. So
whereas David, his uncle want to take him to
the prep school.
Yeah.
And they're going to pay his tuition because he's the lighter skin tone out of the three, too.
David.
And I thought there was something valuable in the sense that, like, you see David as a bad influence on him in a way. He's trying to do his arithmetic for him. He's not helping him to learn. He just wants him to go and play.
One more adventure.
I thought that was a really good scene to show that, like, David's not thinking of the best for him, even though they're putting this kid up on a pedestal. You know, there are cool dynamics at play here. They're just not played with enough. But I also really like when Peter's table of doodles, scratches come to life.
Yeah, all that stuff I'm a big fan of. Yeah.
I'm done. How are we feeling?
I'm done. Let's get away from away.
I guess we'll rate it. So I'll go backwards this time. Sparkles. Final thoughts and give it a number.
6.5.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of really good little things here. It just doesn't come together for a solid final product. And it's a shame because I think that there is something that could have been really, really special here. I think it's bold. It's just not
bold enough.
Executed well enough. That's all.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, I'd give it like a 5.5. Like I like some of the stuff in it. I really wanted to like it more because like the fantastical elements I really enjoyed, but I just found it to be very dour and depressing at points where I didn't think the movie needed to be. For trying to be a kids movie about Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland. 5.5. If you're a diehard fan of these characters, give it a chance, I guess. Yeah.
Ben.
4.5.
Yeah.
Oh.
This movie did not do it. I thought the third act.
There's no Crimes of Grindelwald.
No.
No.
Enough. I thought about that because the last movie I gave a 4 was Crimes of Grindelwald. Now, Crimes of Grindelwald made me mad. This one got my hopes up, and it just did not stick the landing at all. There are good concepts here. There are good things, but the way it, like Spark said, the way they're executed is horrible. And in my humble opinion, they should have just picked a certain route and stick with it. Because the fact that the third act goes completely fantastical at the very end of the film, just is like, no, F it. It's like what was real, what was not. And I don't like that.
I just want to be clear because you referenced me. I didn't say the executions were horrible. I do think they're sloppy.
Okay.
I won't use the word horrible, though.
Okay.
I will rate it a 5.5. It was all right. I kind of regret watching it anyway.
Yeah. At least it was only an hour and a half. Like, imagine this like being super bloated, trying to do the whole mythology and just like.
True.
Thank God.
Okay. Time for our book club. Let's do the book club. Here's the book club time.
Book clubs. Let's do it.
Brandon, take it away.
I will say this. Just looking back at Come Away real quick in comparison to our previous movie review, I do think Come Away is a riskier and bolder film than New Mutants, and that's a bummer for New Mutants.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so book club. This week was mine. I watched, you know what? I couldn't figure out what I was going to do. I kind of wanted to do a holiday one, but I was thinking to myself, I'm watching the Christmas Chronicles. I like me some Badass Santa. So I picked
a holiday one.
A holiday one. A second volume. I've done the first volume before, Klaus. I have chosen Klaus, The New Adventures of Santa Claus, which collects The Witch of Winter and The Crisis of Christmasville one-shots that came after the main 7-issue miniseries. What do we think about this one?
Yo, talk about a complete 180 for Come Away. This one was like, no, let's just go balls to the walls crazy, and I'm for it. The only little hang up is I want to find out what happened on the moon. I don't know if that's collected somewhere else.
No.
Or no.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Which is what I love about Grant Morrison. He's very much like Jonathan Hickman. We're like, hey, here, I'm going to tell you a story idea. Maybe I'll get to it in 5 years.
But besides that, I really, really enjoyed both of these.
Sparks?
I thought there were a lot of good concepts here, but the execution was just I'm sorry.
Horrible. Terrible. Sloppy.
No, I thought it was good.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah, I love me some Santa Claus. I think this Grant Morrison series is incredible. Every Christmas I look forward to the new one-shots, even though every single one of these one-shots, and that continues to the next two, they could just be an ongoing series.
I know it's the Hellboy model, and it actually works better for them. For weird business reasons, selling a new #1 or a new annual gets you more subscribers and more money than a #3, and that's just the weird business model of it. And I hate it. I hate it.
I know. It's just they throw in so much story, and it always leaves me wanting more, which is good. I always want to come back for more.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about The Witch of Winter. We'll go one shot to one shot. The Witch of Winter.
The Pola Cola Core Civil War.
So Santa Claus was Klaus was was chained on the moon from, what was it called?
Luninium.
Yes. Lumi.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce it. Precious Moon Platinum.
Yeah.
He was up there for decades after the Lunar Civil War.
It's a long story.
It's a long story. Well, maybe someday.
I took a picture of that because that is like very much like, yeah, this is like what we're gonna do in like issue 7. Like, give me like a couple years. We'll get to that.
For those of you who don't know, Klaus is a reimagining of the Santa Claus mythology. It started with last time on Klaus. The newly created Santa Claus fights the Krampus, and then he's immortal, so he goes to live on and create. There's a great line where he's like, "How do you get all those houses? Wait, decades." What about all the kids? Like I had backup, and I relied on parents to give their kids gifts. Like I don't really do that anymore.
Wait, Santa Claus is real. How did you deliver to everyone on the planet? He's like, oh, I stopped doing that a long time ago, kid.
the planet got too big.
Yeah, too many people.
Population grew. I had backup, and then the parents helped. So I'm like, all right, cool, you do that for me, thanks.
So the Witch of Winter, she's like a what's the Game of Thrones character? I already forgot. It's been only a year, and I forgot. The Night King.
Massandra.
No, I was gonna say the Night King because he's a
Night King?
Yeah, he's like a witchy white warrior.
Yeah, it is a Night King.
So they go.
She's the Snow Queen.
She's the Snow Queen.
Yeah.
So they go.
The Snow Queen. She's also kind of like cutting to the very end. She's also like a certain elemental where she changes with the seasons.
Yeah. So Klaus needs to go save some kids. So he goes to. He's following the trail of the kids, and he finds his way to his old workshop. And I love this line. Ryan said it a bit. This was our first workshop, ruined and abandoned in the battle with the Pola Cola Core.
Which we find out more about in the next issue.
Yeah.
I love it.
I adore the art, obviously. Dan Mora. This is Grant Morrison, Dan Mora back again. Geppetto.
Oh, and his army of puppets. Oh, yeah.
So, Geppetto was Santa's apprentice.
So so you guys know I'm a fan of Fables. I've read all of Fables, and spoilers for a 15-plus-year-old book. Geppetto is the adversary. He's like one of the main antagonists in Fables. Reading where Geppetto is a good guy, and he is sorry, and he wants to help, and he's made of wood himself, is like, you know what, this is a nice, refreshing change of pace, because every time I hear Geppetto, even when I was at Disneyland, I'm like, F you, Geppetto, you suck.
Again, even like looking at Come Away and like how it reimagines like mythology and stuff, like this is how you do it, baby. Grant Morrison is like making his own like Superman comic, but with Santa Claus. What?
There's the Hall of Santas.
You got the Hall of Santas, and they're all gonna come alive.
This is just Gandalf.
The Yuletide Gandalf, yeah.
Yeah. There is a guy here, the no shirt dude. He is in the Battle with Ragnarok. That's the 4th one shot.
Yeah. Sinister Santa or whatever.
You also got the Yule people, who are essentially the elves, and one who completely turned traitor, Spoon Liquor.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Slorp. I love the onomatopoeia. Slorp.
Yeah. But also, not only that, I love how I don't know if this was intentional, but Spoon Liquor is kind of like boot liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Spoon Liquor always has a spoon to lick, no matter what it is. It's like, ooh, I don't like you.
The lady gave him infinite spoons to lick. That was his promise. When he meets the witch for the first time, he's like, "I'll stand where I am. You have my respect, lady. But I kneel to no power!" And he breaks out of the chains. I'm just like, yeah. It's so good. It's really good. This is a really good comic. Grant Morrison obviously is really, really talented. This is his mythological Superman story where he also gets to meet like Grandfather Christmas, who's like Batman. It's just wild storytelling, and it's obviously the art's fantastic. Yeah, it's just like a puppet snowman. It's so great.
Sparks, you've been silent for a bit. Anything you want to add?
It's real good.
It's very good.
The giant, he creates the Jotuns.
Yeah.
Geppetto's death is actually pretty sad.
It is.
This is one of those comics where like I have a really hard time talking a lot about it because it's very well done. So
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about it, and it's not one where I like to just this thing happened and this thing happened and that was real good, and I'm like, just go read it, guys. It's real good.
It's a barn burner.
Not that I'm shitting on our book club. I just don't have a lot to add about it. It's got really good art. I think it's conceptualized really well. I do think that, frankly, I think Witch of Winter is better than the Pola Cola one.
I'm
interesting.
I am hard on the disagreement. I think the second one's so much more fun. The villain is so much more compelling.
Actually, I like the second one a little bit more. To be perfectly,
that's different strokes for different blokes, guys. We all know this from Ben's bondage days. It's okay. This is gonna be.
I did watch another movie. I can't say I didn't play Company though.
Oh my,
wonderful. I think I just found Witch of Winter more charming, and I like the Snow Queen story in general, which this pulls a lot from the story. Sure. And so it's almost, aside from what Ben brought up about her being like an elemental that turns to spring, it's almost 1 for 1. And even then, there's still the concept in the Snow Queen story that when she is like defeated, it's that she recedes away. Thus, she is not spring herself, but spring comes forward at last. So like all of that is kind of there. So just seeing that execution done the way it is really good. This isn't to say that I don't like the other one that we're going to get to. I just think that this one is more vivid in its characterization. Like I like the kids a lot and what they do and the way that that's conceptualized and their connection. And I think Spoon Liquor and the fleshing out between Spoon Liquor and Geppetto and the other characters that Klaus used to know all feels like really, really engaging in the way that it comes together, and the stuff with Lily.
Lily
being there for him, all of that just works very, very well. I mean, like Witch of Winter, just like it gets me right from the beginning.
If I may,
when the bat hits him in the opening, and he's unfazed by it, and I'm like, this is gonna be a great time. I also have to confess, this is the second time I've read Witch of Winter, so that might be why it lands a little better with me. I read Witch of Winter right after we finished Klaus the last time, and then I didn't read past that, but I did read that one. So Witch of Winter lands really well for me because I've had extra absorption.
If I may transition us to the next one shot, Crisis of Christmasville, with a little story. A trademark dispute escalated into all-out war between Pola Cola and this Klaus character. My father, Agamemnon Partridge III, and we fought him to a standstill.
That's my shit. I love it.
It sounds like the crawl to episode 1.
So it's still Dan Mora on art, but he's decided to do a different style. He's painting this time instead of doing digital. And guys, I think like it's not like that first issue was bad, but this is like on a whole nother level of good. Like, holy shit, the second volume or the second issue was stunning. Every single panel was like a painting. Oh my god. I found the villains to be so much more dynamic and just interesting.
I love Dark Alien Santa.
I do too, because like the Snow Queen, she doesn't say, she like barely talks, so like there's nothing for me to connect with. Whereas I got evil Santa Claus and evil like corporate Lex Luthor and evil corporate Jimmy Olsen, and I'm just like, all of these evil men, and he wants let's make Christmas a corporation thing, and it's like evil dark metal versus Santa Claus. Like
I thought it was Lobo Santa, to be put on.
Also yes.
Basically, the impetus for this one shot, for those of you who don't know, is that there is a town called Xmasville that is not on the map, and everybody in that town has been turned into Santas.
Xmasville is better for the brand.
Xmasville is better for the brand.
It's all encompassing. No, none of that.
It's run by the Pola Cola organization, who at one time in like the 30s,
1931,
fought with Santa Claus for the rights of Christmas. But a family is lost in this town. Again, kids are involved. The dad is a Santa, and the grandmother, Kate, uses a flare gun to call Klaus. They had met before. They had met when she was a young girl.
Oh,
she
Kate.
got her flare gun in 1931, which I can only assume was when the Nazis invaded.
She was at the Pola Cola War. That's what she says. Like, I was there with you.
Never mind.
Also,
it's just like Joe Christmas.
There's a reference to Santa Claus versus the Martians, which is a 1950s science fiction movie, where Klaus says, 20 years ago, we fought the so-called Martians in a town like this. And like, that is a direct reference to that 1950s movie. And I'm like, that's so cute, because Santa Claus fights a bunch of aliens.
Okay, so I read that at the Martians line. I thought, all right, that's probably going to come up. I didn't think it was a reference to a movie.
It's a movie.
The next one shot was called The Crying Snowman, and that's Ragnarok.
Okay.
No, oh, that's good.
One of the things I did want to mention that I caught, and I didn't know if this was Grant Morrison's way of like sneaking in a little snide remark to capitalism or whatever, was when the Pola grandpa was like talking about how they're gonna raise an army of evil Santas and have them murder, but their Santa is gonna be the one that's gonna like save the world, and if you have a Pola Cola in your hand, it's Christmas, because
the blue suited Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And it reminded me a little bit of how because it's the Coca-Cola company that essentially created the modern version, like the suit, the beard, and all that jazz. If my memory serves, I could be wrong on my history, but I remember
one of the things. So one of the things I want to mention about this.
I'm sorry, you were interrupting Ben while he was finishing his point.
Oh, I thought you were done, Ben. Did you?
Oh yeah, I was done. I was just saying, if I'm wrong on my history, let me know.
So there's two things I want to point out real quickly. One, this introduces a dark multiverse, essentially, and aliens. There's just a flying saucer over this ship.
Hell yeah, there is.
Imagination. I love
and then one of my favorite things, Grandfather Frost.
Yeah. And then Father's Christmas and or whatever. They're missing since they're on the moon or something. This is before Klaus goes to the Lunar Civil War because it's going badly. That's right. My favorite page. It's when like the young guy's talking to the evil businessman, and he's like brainwashed to steal kids and then sell them to aliens, and he's like, yes, in return for weapons to fight our war with Klaus. And then it's just this kid's montage of him talking to Santa Claus as a kid and why he originally loved Santa and why he originally loved Christmas and how now he's becoming a bad guy against the thing that he loved. I thought that was so beautiful, especially the page of him as a little kid whispering in Santa's ear because it was painted. I'm like, this is just stunning stuff. It's about Santa Claus Superman still. I'm like, this is why I read comics. It's so fun.
And the only dialogue in that sequence what I really like, and also what I find harrowing when you get to like the future shot of what they wanted to do, was tell me what you want for Christmas.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those.
And then once you get down to the scene with the Santas with all like the AK with not the AKs with like the M16s and they're just blasting people away, and you constantly and all the word bubbles say, "What do you want for Christmas?"
It's spooky.
It goes from, oh, this is what I used to do as a kid to yikes.
So Grandfather Frost gives Snow Maiden, his granddaughter,
Robin,
cold smelted dream silver that was given to them that was given him to the Sky People. There's
And only one of them was made.
Yeah.
God, that's some silly lore. I love it.
I love it. I want to also touch on kind of the end when Klaus saves all the kids, and all the kids are like, "We'll never make it, Klaus. It's impossible." And he's doing the on Dasher, on Prancer, and he's doing that thing. It's like that is so epic.
It is beautiful artwork. Like seriously,
Yeah.
like it's almost like weird, like ethereal at that point. And it's not like regular comics. Dan Moore is so good, and he doesn't just do one style, which I find fascinating. Like from issue to issue, he changes his style, and I'm like, nobody has to do that, but he wants to try new shit. And I respect the dude because like it works.
I want to talk about the ending and the beginning as a whole. So the whole book is being narrated by this one girl, about this one woman. And she's talking about watching her brothers and her sister, or brother and sister, essentially get their imagination sucked out, which I think is a really cool concept. Aliens who eat imagination.
Yeah.
And then Santa Claus comes to Kate, and she says, "No one calls me Kate. It's either mom or grandma." And it's like, well, I'm here to help. But then once we get to the final, we see this book called Xmasville, and you see it's like, oh, this is the woman, the girl who survived. She still remembers. She still has her imagination, so she's writing this book.
No, she doesn't.
Or she doesn't?
No, remember she says, "I don't consider myself a writer of fiction. That would take an imagination I don't have."
Oh, you're right. She did lose her imagination.
Yeah.
But as even though she's selling this book, and then here comes, this is a gift from your grandmother. And then she's like, my grandmother died, and then she goes out and she sees the star, and it's like, her name was Kate.
Yeah.
That was cute because she still remembers her grandmother, and now she has this sweet ass looking flare gun.
She ever needs Santa Claus's help.
Yep. It's like, this was your grandmother's. If you ever need my help again, just.
Oh, and you know what? This would make sense that he didn't do this earlier because he was locked away on the moon. So this is still in that time period of like after he was locked, after he escaped the moon.
It's fun that like that each book, like in subsequent order, doesn't have to be in the same chronological order.
Yeah.
You can bounce around, which what Hellboy does. Like Hellboy has comics from like the 50s and then the 70s and the 60s. It's all coming out at different times.
Yeah, the next two they don't give us any more nuggets about the Lunar Civil War or anything like that. Instead, he decides to be like, yeah, Santa Claus fought with Thor at Ragnarok, and it's going to happen again.
I haven't read past this. But does eventually Santa Claus get like a sidekick Robin companion as well? Because I've seen pictures of this kid, or is that like that might be the newest one coming out?
No, so there's Joe Christmas, which was the last one shot that came out. It was called The Life and Times of Joe Christmas. It was a series of basically just pinups. It was it was this guy's entire life in a horizontal pinup format, no dialogue, just art, and that's what people are referencing. For a while, Joe Christmas was kind of a sidekick to Santa. Yeah,
because like he's like the Nightwing to his Superman. Or I'm like, man, that's such a cool idea. This is building like this weird superhero Santa universe. I'm glad it's working. I'm glad it's working out.
I love the series so much. I can't wait.
This is probably like you guys know, I'm not a big Christmas guy. This is probably my favorite Christmas thing. Like besides Nightmare Before Christmas.
I love Santa's sword.
Yeah.
It's this one in Legend of the Guardian. No, which Guardian movie was
it? Rise of the Guardian. Yeah,
that one. Legend of the Guardians was the owls.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. So Rise of the Guardian. I really like Santa when Santa has swords.
When he's fighting evil dark multiverse Santa, my immediate mind went to, oh my god, give me a Genndy Tartakovsky animated show of this. Because that's like the animation. I was like, oh my god, it doesn't have to be violent, but like, man, just like those smooth lines. Oh god.
Werewolf saying Santa.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's weird because I know I was giving crap for Come Away with the style of storytelling where it's like, oh, is it real? Is it not real? And then surprise, it's all whatever is going on. Whereas with Grant Morrison, their style of writing is just so bonkers. Like it throws nuggets and information at you.
Nothing is off limits.
But for some reason, the way that Grant Morrison writes it, I'm on board. I'm fine. Whereas other things, it's like, no, you gotta explain that shit.
If I were to make a comment about what you're speaking to, I think first off, Klaus says its intention in the beginning of every book. It's like, this is Klaus. This isn't a dream. This is real. And two, in a comic book, you can get away with a lot more than you can with a movie. In a movie, writers talk about this a lot, how the audience really only gets one buy. Like, you've got one big idea that you can sell to the audience. You cannot do two.
Okay.
And I think this, in a comic book, it does not have that restriction. You can do whatever you want, however you want, in whatever way you want.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's it. I got nothing. You good?
I wish there was more Klaus as well, but I also understand other things need to get drawn as well, like Power Rangers.
Yeah. So next week we're doing 10 of Swords.
Oh.
So no book club, right?
No, because all of us are going to be reading 24 issues of X-Men.
Yeah. So we'll just do 10 of Swords. It'll just be that comic. So no book club. We'll skip that. Sparks, you'll be the week after.
If you're watching this or listening to this, please read X of Swords and then come watch us do this live. I would love to talk about X-Men with people all the time, every day, all the days, every day.
Yes.
So we got some other things coming, but I won't announce them here. We'll see what happens this week. Okay. Guys, if you're watching this, thank you so much for staying with us pretty late. It's actually not. Oh, yes, it is. It's 2:30.
No, it is. It's late.
In the morning, bud.
So yeah, we got a bunch of stuff on this channel. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. We have more. Man, that sounds so cool out of your microphone.
Oh, cool.
We have our Fake Nerds Watch series on this channel, which we are currently going through The Mandalorian. Probably, so not this coming week, but the week after will be another episode because we do 2 at a time.
Yep.
This coming week.
Well, no, they will come out the week after.
Well, it'll come out this coming weekend.
If we record it this coming weekend.
We better. I think we got a lot we got to talk about. It's bad enough we're going to be waiting 1 week on this one.
We got a lot to talk about this week, but not now because we also have Basement Arcade. You guys talked about it a bit. Fortnite's coming to the Basement Arcade.
Oh, it's true. It's happening.
Yes, we will have 2 Fortnite videos. One where Ryan and I are just kind of showing off some of the Marvel event stuff before it's over from the Fortnite world, and then one where we're doing the event where you fight Galactus this Tuesday. One time only because I don't get it, but you know,
the biggest game in the world that's played by millions of kids. Let's do it on a Tuesday at 1:00 when they're in school.
And we also have our Fake Nerd Book Club series. We may get a new episode out by the end of the year. Maybe not. We'll see. We also have masks. Guys, hey, Black Friday, 25% off masks. Exclusive Fake Nerd Podcast mask. Got our logo on it. Coming from the wonderful Crafted by Z. Both those links are in the description to her Instagram account and her Etsy. Thank you. Yeah, so check those out. Wear your mask. LA's going into another lockdown. I'm pissed. Wear your damn masks. Of course, we also have a Patreon if you'd like to support us on Patreon, or if you'd like to support us on TeePublic. We got some cool shirts on TeePublic. We got some cool stuff on Patreon sometimes, if I can remember. All those links are in the description below, or you can find them all at www.fakenerdpodcast.com, which is in the ticker below. Of course, links below as well, and all those links are there on the homepage. Thank you to everyone who listens. We greatly appreciate all you guys watching this, all you guys listen to this. Mag, the real MVP, watching at 2:30 in the morning.
You the best.
Hey, people, be like Mag. Stay up.
And the other person who's here, because we have 2 watches actually right now.
Oh, we have 2. Who's the other person?
Appreciate you.
Probably still Witch Historian.
There you go. Thank you guys.
Historian, you stay up late too.
Thank you to everyone who does that whole bit. I did that bit already. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci. Jeremy's a cool guy. He does some stuff for us. Maybe some more stuff soon. You can find him at Instagram at Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards. He does our music, things like that, if I didn't make that clear. You can find his podcast as well at Suburban Proctologist Official on Facebook and at Subproc Podcast on Instagram. Or you can just subscribe to it on iTunes. There's a 3rd person watching this now. Holy shit.
I don't believe you.
I'm serious. I'll take a picture if you want me to.
No, I'm just saying we're done. Thanks for stopping by.
And of course, Mike Matola. Mike is a really cool dude. Our latest. Whoops, Mag, I didn't see this.
Oh yeah.
No probs. Have a good one and stay safe later. Yeah, dude. Thank you. Where was I? Mike Patola. He's cool. We have our fifth. Let's call it five. Our fifth and a half. Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge for The Little Mermaid. That is up now. Check that out. Or you can find him at Mike Matola to get the Little Mermaid print. It's awesome.
Hey, you see this cool logo that's on the screen that my finger's pointing to? Mike drew that.
Wow.
And other logos that some we use, some we don't. Thank you. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BC McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben?
I am Ben Magnet on Instagram and Ben Magnet 27 on Instagram and Twitter. I had a bit and I lost it. It's late. I'm tired. I wanna watch anime. And if you like old school video games like I do, I also write for oldschoolgamermagazine.com. I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning writing my newest article. The link is in the description down below. You want to know what it's about? It's about why the classics won't die, and that's a good thing.
Another great article from Nostalgia's Bitch.
Did you read it?
No.
Okay.
No, you.
Thank you to me. No, thank you to me.
Thank you to Ryan. Thank you to Ryan for saying where you're from.
Hey guys, I'm from where I live, right here in my house. You can find me at DJ Tony Snark everywhere.
I'm tired. Sparks.
You can find me desperately trying to find my way back to Doctor Who now that John Barrowman is returning as Jack Harkness for the holiday special, and Brandon didn't put it in the news. At Sparks Witty on Instagram, Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
I want to be there for that too.
All right. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Podcasts. Like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Rate and review us wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Until next week, stay fake nerds.
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.